What's up, freak bitches? How's it going? Wherever you are, however you may be watching, thank you for coming and hanging out with us today. More Jurassic World talk, but there is a small news story that is going to take precedence. Maybe you guys have heard about some of this other stuff going on, some low-level courtroom drama that has been playing out for the last 6 or so weeks. Maybe some of you have been really invested in it. We may as well talk about that one. Who are we going to talk about that with? Except for my awesome co-hosts. The first of which being the Dowager Countess, Lady Cora. How are you tonight, ma'am?
I'm sadly not going to be able to stay too long. I have to take a dog to the vet at 5:30 in the morning. So I'm going to be dipping out and having to miss out on the Jurassic Park talk. But I will be here for the beginning part.
Well, you're here for the really important stuff. and someone else who's been watching this trial very closely, you can imagine whose side he was on, is my hetero life mate, Jeremy. What's going on, brother?
What gave it away? Well, I'll be honest. What gave it away?
It was a flare.
As if that
should have dressed him like a turd.
You know what? I should have got just a giant poop emoji and then just taped her face to the front of it. That would have been awesome. You know what? It's kind of been like a crappy last, I guess, almost 2 weeks now. But you know what? I'm in a decidedly better mood, as I'm sure we'll discuss pretty heavily here in a second.
Yeah, we'll go into it, but after we get done talking about all that stuff, we're going to be talking about a whole bunch of dinosaur-related stuff with our dinosaur experts. Broody Gamer, what's going on, brother?
Oh, hi. I thought I was going to be clever with my Jimmy Buffett Jurassic World getup, but I think
don't let me ruin it for you.
Captain Jack over here already took the show for that one. I'm like, okay.
You should have made 2 margaritas and just been double fisting them like you did in the movie.
I thought about it. All I have are the frozen ones. I wasn't going to hold 2 packets and be walking around. I even had like a little pterodactyl I was going to put on my hat, but I've got a dinosaur on my hat, so that works.
But these gas prices, that's all we can afford. Fuck it.
Taco Bell's the cheapest place for gas.
We got to figure out a way to ride the pterodactyls around. If we can do that, would be dope.
Oh,
yes.
Boy.
That would be cool, wouldn't it? You imagine riding a pterodactyl around? How boss would that be?
Yeah,
I'm here for it.
Like, don't mind me. I just parked my pterodactyl over there in the spot. Yeah, I took up 2 spots. What the hell? Got to protect my pterodactyl.
Sir, you cannot park on the roof. You cannot park on the roof. Put that down.
Pterodactyl.
Let's get down to all the stuff that everybody wants to hear about. The first thing is Johnny Depp. He, of course, won his defamation case against his ex-wife Amber Heard on Wednesday, with the jury awarding him $15 million in damages total. Depp was awarded $10 million in compensatory damages and $5 million in punitive damages in his defamation suit. The jury did also award, however, $2 million to Amber Heard for whatever the hell that Johnny Depp did wrong. Like I said, they were both kind of evil towards each other, so I guess it kind of works out. Fairfax County Circuit Court Judge Penny Escrate, and I'm pretty sure I'm butchering that name, I apologize. She did reduce, however, the punitive damages the jury awarded to Depp to $350,000, which is the state's statutory cap or legal limit, making his total damages $10.4 million. Lady Cora, you and Jeremy have been watching this intently for all 6 weeks of the trial. What are your thoughts on the verdict?
Well, I believe the jury was scared of Amber and Amber fan wrath, getting doxxed and having their jobs attacked and their lives attacked publicly. Fans? So I'm not surprised they gave her something. And of all the things they gave her the count that specifically spoke about calling the cops a second time, roughing the place up, and spilling wine on the floor, which wasn't backed up from the cop testimony. And the cops came back the second time as a follow-up on their own, and the body cam footage didn't show any damage to the apartment. So, technically speaking, I believe what they gave her is factually based. And I only think I think they did it out of...
It's pity money.
Someone said the phrase "splitting the baby" on one thing I was watching. Like, we're going to give him something and give her something, but... damn, did they give it to Johnny? I mean, they had the choice to say, yes, she's is she guilty of defamation on these 3 counts and leave it there. But no, they went as far as to say yes to this was intentional malice on all 3 counts. And that was one that I thought would be hard to get, because you could contest that, it's his word against her. I don't know. In general, it was fantastic, and it was very dramatic to begin with. I'll keep it very brief real quick. But basically, most judges read the summary of the jury's findings before they come out, and this judge didn't. And on the jury forms, there was 1 page for each count, so there were 6 pages. She looked at them and immediately saw they didn't fill the forms out correctly and had to send them back, but she had to tell them why they had to go back, and generically said, well, if you're going to say that, that they're found guilty of this, you have to award damages. They basically forgot to fill out how much money they're going to give Johnny. And because of the way the counts were in order, we knew what order they were going to read the counts. And so we knew if she immediately opened the papers and looked at it right away, clearly it was one of the 3 counts for Johnny. And Amber's team immediately was somber, and Johnny's team was smiling because they knew they couldn't say until the jury came back, and we didn't know how long it was going to be. There was a chance that if they didn't agree on the damages amount, they could have hung, and nobody would have gotten anything. But they came back, and 20, 30 minutes, Jeremy, wasn't it?
Oh, it wasn't even that long.
It was less than an hour.
Yeah, it wasn't long. I mean, like I said, I started watching it. I was still at work. I had time to go out to my car. I think they just said, like, oh, hold on, we're going to go back. And I'm like, well, I might as well, it's time for me to hit the dusty trail or, sail out to the horizon, whatever. So I was in my car. I sat in my car for a few minutes, and then I just started driving. I think once I was driving, I started hearing them actually read off, what they were doing.
Mm-hmm.
So maybe like a half hour. I don't know. It didn't seem like it was, because I was just sitting there holding my fucking breath, like waiting for it.
And everybody I was watching the stream in the chat and stuff assumed that because they were coming back so quickly, they were just going to give him like $1, because he said in his closing statements through his lawyer he didn't want any money. He just wanted to clear his name. Yeah. But no, they gave him $10 million, and then they emotional damages and gave her none. I'm happy with it. I honestly think the emotional stuff in her testimony, proving she's a liar, really just pissed them off. And I think they gave him stuff that if you looked at it from like a purely non-emotional letter of the law standard, I don't think it met the definition of of defamation in the eye of the law for 2 of the counts, but they gave it to him anyways. So I'm happy about it. Seems on point with what the trial showed. I think the jurors are going to be happy with what they did when they come out of this and see all the stuff that was withheld and not put into evidence, if you know what I mean. Do you agree, Jeremy?
Yeah, it's interesting you actually say that, because I think it was, today? It had to have been, had to have been this morning. Guess who was already out there on the fucking Today Show was her fucking goddamn lawyer.
CBS.
With
CBS.
No guilty conscience, with no sore loser spite. Still out here fucking just, I know. Elaine Brederhoff was out there saying, like, well, does she want to appeal? And she's like, oh, absolutely she does. And I'm like, on what grounds? Like, and she said, like, well, there was evidence in this case
no,
that
she did say
shouldn't
why.
Even put in there in the first place. I'm like,
she
weren't
said
you
Amber
the defendant?
doesn't have the money. She literally
No, I
said
know.
in one of those interviews.
That was the
Amber
funniest. The clip that I saw was she was like, the reporter's like, can she even pay that $10 million? She's like, oh, no, she can't. I'm like, then you shouldn't have fucked around and found out. That's the.
Or asked for money.
You're such a sore loser. Like, that's the problem. Like,
do you think that they gave Johnny money because she asked for money? Because I honestly think that if he had just sued her and she did not enter a counterclaim against him wanting more money, and she was just there to, quote, defend herself and clear her name of this defamation claim, I don't think they would have given him money. I think they were countering her greed.
Well, what exactly did they give her the money for? I didn't
There
follow
was
this nearly as
one-
closely as you guys did. So
One of
there
the
was
counts.
one count. Yeah.
It was basically the reference to Johnny's lawyer saying that she and her friends called the cops a second time, roughed the place up, and
And then blamed it on him.
they didn't give her the other ones that referred to everything being a hoax and her being a chronic liar. But they gave her the factual things about the cop call and the house being roughed up.
The thing the thing that tickles me is that like that they're like now the thing that she posted probably on her way out of the courtroom as she's getting in the car. They were like, you know, he could come back. He could come back and do something on that. But I'm like, that seems
it was as
petty.
bad as the defamation in the op-ed.
She's just digging herself a hole again. And I'm like, he could go back on it. But I'm like, would you want to? No. Do you want to go through all that time and money and effort to do that again? No. I think he just wants to be done with it as well as everyone else.
There is an intermediary there, though. When they're going back and having what they're calling a settlement conference where they agree how money's going to be exchanged, or at least supposed to, even before the appeal is considered.
I'm sure.
Johnny's lawyers can ask for, and the judge very well may do it, make her put in a gag order of sorts, like a TRO of sorts, where she can't talk about this publicly anymore.
See, then that's the other thing is that now I've seen some people, even on my own social media timelines, that are like, the same thing that Elaine Brederhoff is saying, like, this is a big step back. This is a big step back for women. I'm like, what are you afraid of? The point was, don't fucking lie about it, especially in court, under oath. What do you have to worry about? You wouldn't lie about that.
You're trying to peddle that because Johnny Depp was vindicated based on the fact that she didn't have evidence and proof that short of taking a video of being raped, you can't be believed. But she didn't have... I won't get too far into it, but I mean, it's insane that she claims she was raped, but yet she saw her private nurse and doctor within days and didn't mention it, and took videos of Johnny sleeping, but didn't take pictures of even blood running down her leg or.
There was nothing that ever suggested like the whole cabinet video. He's like, they're like, yeah, look at that, and he's like, and Johnny's like, but I didn't lay a hand on her.
That was after he found out
he poured the mega pint and he walked the fuck out of the room. That's what he did.
I mean, Jeremy, what would you do if you found out someone stole $650 million from you? Wouldn't you be a little mad?
Me personally, I'd be pretty pissed off because I'm like, where did I have $650 million I didn't know about? And some fucker stole it. Now, if I was some high profile fucking celebrity, I'd be kind of like, still like, whoa, now wait a damn second.
She caught him being mad about that, walked into the room, asking him what's wrong. He was
not having a good day. He didn't, I know. Because all he said was, he's like, did something bad happen to you this morning? I don't think so. I'm like, yeah, you had a bad day, man. I get it.
And the biggest argument for me, and I'm a survivor of a similar situation, if you catch my drift. Mm-hmm. There are women who've been through things, men who've been through things. Amber Heard admitted in her testimony with Camille Vasquez on Cross that after all that happened in Australia, when things were good for a while, she went back to Australia, stayed in the very same house, and she had no problem with it. Mm-hmm. Everybody I know, including myself, you don't want to go back to the place where an assault happened.
No. You don't want to relive that.
Let alone stay with the person. I just...
But if they got that money, you know...
Yeah, she doesn't want the money, but she wanted 7.
No.
In the testimony, or not testimony, but the statements that were made, I think in closing, that Camille basically said, well, he was done with her when his mom died, and he wanted to turn his life over. He left her alone for a month. She sent letters or communications demanding money. And when he refused, that's when she went and did this shit with the divorce and claiming abuse. It was only when he refused to give her money.
Yeah, she was basically saying like, hey, you should pay for me and my friends to live in like 3 of your penthouses, and you got to pay for me for the rest of your life.
Only 3?
And he's like, no, the fuck? You know what? my like I said, this is a weird. I even got a little bit emotional watching this because, I mean, one person that probably knows who it is a brooding gamer over here. I've dated an Amber Heard. It's you know exactly who I'm talking about. It's not.
We both have.
Yeah, I'm like, it's not a fun fucking time. It's. I mentioned this on the whole. Like, it's a what they leave you with.
Most guys have though. Maybe not.
I know,
maybe
but
not
I'm
to
like,
this extent, but I mean, in some
Well,
way, shape, or
people
form.
But how many times have you heard about that? That's the point. I'm like, it's scary how often it really is for anybody, and that's the point, men or women. It happens way too fucking often.
I think
and
it's
sad.
equally common for emotional and narcissistic like abuse to happen
Yeah.
at the hands of men and women. I don't think men are more apt to do it.
That's what I'm saying is like, I don't know what I'm like. I'm glad this is a weird social experiment with my social media. I'm like, it's funny that I'm seeing all you so-called feminists now getting triggered as fuck over this, and I'm like, you're not for equality, then, are you? You're mad
not
because
feminists.
this is a
They
male
just- they're
that's
attention
getting his
seekers.
case out there, getting his story out, and why are you saying that it's a bad thing for women? I'm like, that's not no. It's funny. You're not really for the equality bit, are you? Then like I said, in a show we're about to mention, the Jedi hunt themselves. Although I wouldn't call these people Jedi.
Well,
The trash
can I
takes
ask you-
itself out, is what I'm saying.
Well,
So
Brooding Gamer and Frank, what's your take on it? I mean, if you may not have watched it, but from what do you guys think of it all?
Well, I still kind of think that they're just two terrible people that ended up together. I think there's
That also happened.
I don't think that they gave her a couple of bucks just to kind of help balance the scales. I think he probably did something wrong too. Now, relatively speaking, yes, she was a damn dumpster fire compared to him. I mean, like, he's a mess, but she's nuclear waste spilled on the floor at Chernobyl. She's terrible. Now, but so I feel
Can we
like
thunder there?
I feel like everything kind of landed where it was supposed to land. Here's what I find absolutely hilarious about this is that going into this, very few people gave Johnny Depp even a snowball chance in hell. Like, they thought, like, most people were like, he's already been proven, like, the whole thing in the UK with that court case, it's like he's already been legally found to be a wife beater. So he's gonna take a hit on this one way or the other. But over the course of it's like she went into the fourth quarter with like a 21-point lead and fucked it. I mean, for the sports analogy, she went into the fourth quarter with a 21-point lead and then gave up 4 touchdowns right off the jump. I mean, she had all the advantages in this. All she had to do was play it straight. And her legal team cocked it up so bad that she now has to give him, $10.5 million roughly. And she's going to get.
Well, when you object to your own question.
Yeah. I have no idea. Where did she find this legal team? Did she get? Did they get their laundry at night school?
I think she found a Cracker Jack box.
It came out how she paid for it.
Well,
it came out finally how she paid for it. She had bought umbrella liability coverage at some point before the trial, and insurance is paying for the team. So they may have had a say about who her legal team is, or she may have been put on a budget.
Well, part of it also is that some of these legal people in Hollywood, they will take a case just for the exposure. I mean, because her lawyer, even though her lawyer has got the IQ of a soggy carrot, she knows that her name's all over the fucking papers now. There's going to be a lot of people coming to her for much smaller shit than what Amber Heard was coming to her with, but she's got a lot of money rolling in now from other people. She took this case as an advertisement. That's what I'm thinking.
You don't think Elaine's...
When that TMZ guy mic dropped,
that's what I was going to say. She had the balls to be like, my 15 minutes of fame. What about you? You're the one.
And
he's like, well, you're welcome to speculate. I could say the same thing about you. And I'm like, motherfucker. Yes.
So let me ask this.
Because you wouldn't be going on the fucking Today Show the next goddamn morning still bitching about it. 15 minutes of fame, my ass. You still want to be out here complaining about it being a sore loser. Like, fuck off.
So now I've never had to deal with court problems, thank God. And I hope to God I never have to. But I also really didn't pay... Objection hearsay, shut up. I didn't really pay that much attention in criminal justice class or not either.
I object himself, Jeremy.
Object himself.
So when you swear an oath, to tell the truth, nothing but the truth, why is it she has broken? I mean, there was one of the YouTubers I watched who counted. He's one of those. He's like a lawyer, a YouTube lawyer. You know how they are. They
Law
watch
tube
stuff
is
like
what
this.
they call them, law tubers.
I like them though. They're cool.
Yeah.
It's like Doctor Tubers. They're fucking hilarious.
Did you know that lawyers are allowed to lie? Legally, they are allowed to lie to court in their statements, in their opening and closing statements, to make their client look good. They're allowed to.
Well, yeah.
It's sad.
They wouldn't make it any other way. But the point is, the whole reason to swearing an oath and when you lie, it's that is illegal. It's against the law, and you can be put in jail/prison for lying. Okay, so there was a lawyer I watched, and he counted 8 times just before we even got to the "my dog stepped on a bee" time, and he counted 8 times before that even happened of her lying and being called out by Johnny's totally not my.
Are you talking about Elaine or Amber?
Amber.
Okay.
She lied. There was 8.
I think I know where you're going with that statement. I've been trying to compile a list of internet daddies. I'm like, we gotta bring up internet mommies. She's list number 1. Fucking
the lawyer.
Camille Vasquez, yes.
She's gonna get in trouble for this because they're investigating her in the UK for perjury at the UK trial. That they're all saying he won, he lost. That proved he's an abuser. It was all based on lies she said there, and a good number of those lies she admitted were not true on the stand here. So she's in trouble in Australia. She's in trouble in the UK because in Australia there's a term called glassing, which means assault by glass. I'm not kidding. It's a thing. And because she cut his finger off with glass, she's potentially facing charges in Australia for that. And she's potentially facing perjury charges in the UK. She's fucked. Even if
we're talking about Amber, not Camille, right?
Amber.
Yeah.
Okay. That's why I was like, well, what did Camille do in Australia? I was like, hold on. So my question is, if Amber has lied this many times, being caught, by Camille, who she's about right up there internet wise with Lady Dimitrescu and her about right there for me. One's obviously a little taller than the other.
I'll have to make a fictional list and real life list. I'll work on it. I promise.
I've got the Samsung girl right behind her in line.
Oh, Lily Adams.
So anyway,
you can just do Lily Adams and then. Oh, I thought you meant Lily Adams and Miliana Vanthrop, the actual actor.
I'll put her in there too. So anyway, I keep getting way off track. The pirate is distracting.
So the lies are adding up, you mean?
So if the lies are adding up, she has been called out multiple times in court by Camille, by
Ben.
Multiple other Ben.
Ben Chu. Yeah.
So why is it she was not? Like I said, I'm not big with court talk or anything.
You mean why
I don't know.
Brought up on perjury charges?
Yes, for lying.
So here's the thing.
I would like to think so, but the little voice keeps telling me laws are for poor people. So
civil trials are different than criminal, so it's a little different. And technically speaking, that's her account of things, and she's giving her account of what she remembers and how she thinks it happened.
Yeah, but to a narcissist,
the stuff about. It's just not going to happen. She's not going to be held on perjury charges for what she lied about. Now, public opinion is going to be against her. The judgments were against her in the verdict, but there's just no way, legally speaking, as I understand it, she can be brought up on perjury charges.
The thing that I don't understand is what she talked about in her. It rolls right off the tongue. Amber Heard has to have the last word. When she posted that fucking thing on Insta, you're welcome. You can write that one down.
4 minutes after she walked out the door, she had that posted, by the way.
It had to have been, and I'm like, that had to have been pre-written. That had to be pre-written. There's no way, and it wasn't looked like almost like a meme. It wasn't even something typed or anything. It's.
Did you notice the comments were off on it, so people couldn't comment?
Oh, I know. I forgot actually that I followed. From a long time ago, probably Zombieland era or something. I followed Amber Heard on Instagram, and a few days ago, I saw Amber Heard posted to her story. I'm like, fucking hello, what? I forgot I had her on there. I forgot, seriously. And I was like, oh, right, I forgot about you. And then, yeah, I saw that. And then I saw, like, the comments thing was, like, grayed out. I'm like, that's interesting.
Mm-hmm.
I did the little meme of Megan from fucking Drake and Josh, like, interesting.
And she
But
said, she
my
literally said something to the effect of, "I lost my American given rights for free speech."
That's where I'm going.
No, you didn't.
That's where I'm going with that. She didn't.
Free speech is, you can say what you want, but if you're defaming somebody or lying, you are held accountable.
Well,
if someone
it's not
calls
just it's not just that. I'm like, no, Amber, you did speak openly and freely. You just got fucking caught because you lied about all of it. And I'm like, yes, you have free speech, but I don't think you're understanding. You're in a court of law under oath, and you're lying about it.
Even
That's
free speech
different.
has its limits.
Exactly. I'm like, that's not how that works. You can't just, you can't say whatever you want, whenever you want, and
Isn't
in
it
any
technically
situation.
liable if it's in print?
Well, Prince liable,
I don't know.
yes. I don't see. I wonder how that would work with the online thing, because I remember him talking about
slander is spoken, print is libel.
Yes, yeah. We've watched Spider-Man. You're welcome. Thank you, Jay Jonah.
It took me a minute to remember that. Yeah, that's like
yeah, that line. I knew what you were doing. Yeah. I wonder how that works though. With does that technically still apply? I'm just thinking technology-wise, like with something online. Like if I post something online, like
so. I think that's why this case was so key, because they basically, through this verdict, find.
Oh yeah, there was. I'm sorry, there was something I watched about
after publication.
Yes. So technically written, I guess. It was somewhat, like I said, the thing I watched it on my way here. I think one of them was a lawyer. Two of them might have been lawyers. I don't know who the other girl was. And there was the host, and they were talking about it. And like I said, this woman was on it. She's my new favorite. She's saying everything I said, basically. When they were talking about Elaine Bretterhoff, basically, she didn't use the word incompetent, but she flat out just said, "Oh yeah, the jury is incompetent. They were confused. They didn't know what they were doing." I was like, "Okay, that's a good. Go in there with that. Go in there and lead with that, and see how far that fucking gets you with your appeal." Like,
and
the jury
they were obviously looking at social media on the weekends when they were like, as if it was expected that they were going to go against the court's instructions to not do that.
This woman said, like, "Look, I have never ever seen this happen. I've never seen in my lifetime of what I do." She might have been a lawyer or some sort of analyst. It's like, I've never seen the lawyer come out like the next day and then attack the jury like that. I'm like, yeah, you're falling down that hole too there, lady.
Well, like, this jury is not going to hear the appeal, right?
No.
Okay,
no,
so whatever.
No, they're all going to be found hanging from their fucking rooms. That's what's going to be coming next. Like I said, 10-foot rope in a 7-foot tall room.
I'm sure Amber's people will come after them once their names are released.
Jury be warned. Isn't that what they say in Pirates of the Caribbean with the skeletons hanging? Isn't that what they have in Pirates of the Caribbean when he's coming into Port Royal and they've got the skeletons hanging and it says like "Pirates be warned" or something like that? That's like the side. Yeah. Jury be warned.
Somebody,
I bet they're just glad to be done with this. I mean,
I'm sure everybody
100%.
is. I know the judge is too. I mean, she even had that little zinger too, where she's like, "All right, well, thank you for all your professionalism, your patience with this whole thing. You're all welcome back in my court. Well, give me a few weeks, but you're all welcome back in my court." I'm like, "You're so funny."
My favorite thing the judge said to Elaine was, "What, if anything, is not a cure-all?"
Wait, but she said what now?
Elaine kept saying the phrase "what if anything" in front of every fucking question. It was very annoying.
Because she was trying so hard.
And so the judge once told her,
Camille was right there in her sights, like, "Say something else, bitch. I dare you, say something." She was on it.
I don't know. The judge.
I love that guy asked. I love that guy asked Camille, like, "Are you and Johnny dating?" She goes, and walks away. I'm like, that's not an answer. Hey.
Oh, she has a very serious boyfriend who's also a lawyer. Her dad came out and spoke for her.
I know. I'm like, yeah, don't say anything. I know she wouldn't have just said it, and that probably would have thrown a whole wrench into it too, because it would be like, oh, that's reason to.
I would say it's clearly not. I did not see Johnny offer her any candy, so
they just kind of kept taking his candy, honestly. Oh my god, when they were trying to really put like, oh, how does eating candy make you a narcissist? And then Camille reaches over, grabs one, and Ben just laughs, takes one too. I'm like, you guys, oh, you can't do that to me. That's funny.
I love at the end of it though, you could tell there was a slip up by Ben. I don't know if it was a slip up or not, or if it was just whatever. But he was, the what's her face? I don't even know her name, nor do I care. She looks like a Karen that would work at fucking Home Goods.
You talking about Elaine Brederhoff, the old lady?
Sure. I just call her Home Goods manager.
Calling her Umbridge if you're Harry Potter fans because they remind her.
Thank you. I like it. Just need to see her pink.
Umbridge.
And by the way, she didn't wear pink the whole trial.
I feel like it was funny because she said something. It was so quiet. I'm guessing it was along the lines of like, "Thank you for your time," blah 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 blah. And then Ben comes up. He goes, "This is where I would like to highly disagree. I mean, agree for once with her on this." And everyone got like
at least on the last day we agree. I'm like, God damn it!
I thought that was judge though. I feel like
you're talking about like he's like, I'm not trying to be snarky. She's like, no, you're just a snarky guy. I'm like,
you're just that was good. That was good. I loved it.
This judge is eating that shit up. She is.
I feel like there was someone going over how many times objections were sustained and objections were heard on both sides. Heard, no pun intended, on both sides. And a lot of people said the judge heavily held back on Amber Heard and her team, that like she would not let them get half anything out. But with Johnny, she was like sustain. I
disagree, actually. Watching it every day.
There were times that they did object and they were sustained.
She gave Elaine and her team a lot of wiggle room, especially on things about letting some things in for evidence and not. So I think
how,
it was 50-50,
if anything,
but in different ways. So, and frankly speaking, her team was way more ridiculous in their objections. Fuck, one of their lawyers objected to himself while he was...
Yeah.
He literally is like, so tell me about blah, blah, blah. Objection.
You asked the question, though. And he's like, shit.
What are you doing?
Take a knee, my guy. Take the walk. Walk the plank.
I always think of that damn crocodile.
Oh, no. I should have had Zach come in here and like got some like... I should have had Zach get some like mean-ass mutton chops and be like, Mr. Gibbs, you may throw my hat, and just let him have it.
Go get it.
Now go get it.
Yeah, I wish Johnny the best of luck. I'm with Frank on this, that neither of them were in the wrong, or in the right in this sense. But there were so many times that Johnny, the thing is about Johnny, to my knowledge of watching what I was able to watch, he didn't deny hardly anything.
Wrongdoing.
It was like, did you do this? Yes, I did. Amber would not admit to anything.
That's part of what they told her to do, though.
And that's what. But the thing is of course you don't want to admit to your own faults, especially in court.
She also called everybody else a liar on top of it.
Oh,
everybody.
My God. Yeah, when Camille's like, so everyone else is just lying, right?
Cops lied.
Oh, God.
Her own sister.
The lawyers lied.
Yes. And her sister even came out and was like, yeah, I had to move in with her just because I don't know what the hell she's capable of. Like,
her sister lied for her very badly, and it was so obvious.
I just want you all to know, Jeremy, you'll appreciate this, or whatever you are, Jeremy Sparrow. I usually have a lot of props here for this one, but unfortunately tonight I couldn't find my Indominus Rex, so I brought a pot of dirt. So I've got a pot of dirt.
I drank all that rum, so to be honest, I probably would have had that. I've
got totally not Baja Blast in this, so I thought, that's tropical. Got me some Baja.
I mean, this isn't a flintlock pistol, but I mean, it works. It's
as long as it's only got one shot, you should be good.
Well, there's something that I've realized in watching the parts of this that I have been watching. This does not absolve Johnny Depp of any wrongdoing, of course. But I have realized over the course of this that a lot of the things that he did that were wrong, that were bad, that were not good, that he ended up taking the pinch for and having to give her a couple of bucks over, were not necessarily because he wanted to do them. A lot of the stuff was reactionary to her.
I agree 100%. If she didn't abuse him,
I don't want to absolve him from this way. I don't want to absolve him from doing anything wrong, because you can sit here and poke at somebody until they hit you, and then they hit you, and they still were wrong. But you can't ignore the fact that you were sitting there poking at somebody trying to instigate. And I really feel like that's what she
You can't get
that's
can't get
kind of
mad
what
at
an
that.
happened here
audio tape.
is she went off the deep end for whatever her reasons were. I don't know. I'm not even sure she entirely knows.
It's a narcissist abuser.
And that
She's just that way.
and that
I work for one.
yeah, and that he
Oh,
was in his and because he has his own ego, because he's been a big star for a long time now, and being a big star in Hollywood makes you think that you're kind of above things. And because of his ego, he thought that it was a perfectly logical and acceptable reaction to do whatever he did that may have been bad. And I understand why that happened. Again, not to absolve him, certainly not going to absolve her, because she is absolutely like the biggest problem in this whole situation.
No, but you can't blame a woman who's being victimized sexually for stabbing her the accoster to get away.
Well, yeah, but that's not what we're talking about here. We're not talking about her raping him.
But the thing is, she emotionally raped him. She fucked with his head. She made him go crazy, and his whole life upended.
And I don't disagree with you entirely on that. Okay. But there is no legal standard for what you're talking about, though. I agree in principle with what you're saying. But there is no legal standard for that, like there is a legal standard for a physical thing.
True.
You know what I mean?
True.
So, yeah. But again, it's like a lot of this was she was being a douchebag to him, and him was just like, you know what, I'm going to react excessively because she's been pressing me to do this, and factoring in there somewhere that I'm Johnny Depp, I'm rich and famous, I'm going to get away with it, or mostly get away with it anyway. I'm not going to pay the price that some other people.
What you're saying is they almost caught him.
they did. He got pinched for $2 million, so technically they caught him. But yeah, it's like
he actually got pinched for $9 if you count the $7 he had to give her in divorce that she didn't give to charity.
Well, wasn't the divorce kind of a separate thing, though?
I'm just
saying.
Yeah,
but when you add it up, it's kind of like, well, now you owe him more than you got in the first place. So
yeah.
That's what
I
laughed
together.
I laughed so fucking hard.
I just, again, I don't. Like I said, this whole thing is a mess. Everybody here was wrong in some way. Depp to a certain extent, her to a very big extent. I mean, an unmeasurable extent, and which is why things went the way they did.
Because he took responsibility to some degree, and she took no responsibility.
But again, that's aesthetics, though. It's not.
It already shows, given that she posted that shit, being a sore fucking loser right after the fact.
And sent Elaine out as her PR junkie. It's like, you can't leave it alone for a day.
No, because again, her fucking lawyer went on fucking TV the day after. I'm like, yeah, you just can't let this go for some reason. Like,
which is weird because she was going to fire Elaine. There were accounts of them in the courthouse
just,
being
like,
observed
take the L,
fighting,
regroup,
and Amber yelling at her saying, "I'm going to fire you."
Well, whatever, bye.
It's very weird. She's passionate about Amber.
Well,
shouldn't have fired that PR team, shouldn't you? Dumbass.
There's two questions I have. One is if Amber Heard ever shows up at Jeremy's house and wanted to give him shit about supporting Johnny, are you just going to answer the door, put your hands up, and say, parlay? Is that
No, you should ask her, can you come to my bedroom and take a shit on the bed? I want to get a picture of this.
No.
I'll spray her like a dog, like, no, Dad, get out.
I found a video of this guy.
That little clip. You smell funny.
There's a video going around of this guy reenacting as Johnny Depp, and his mannerisms, the way he talks, and he's always doing this, and he's always got give the camera a smile, Amber, and it's this woman with like real big frown, and then he's like, "Let me show you the master bedroom," and he goes into the bedroom.
Oh wait, is it Manny Matthews and
I don't know, but.
It's like him giving a home tour, and he's like, "Let me show you where the magic happens."
Yes,
Amber. He's like, "Amber, no, Amber,
yeah, down." He's like spraying her with a bottle.
He like pats her stomach. He's like, "No, she just needs some work. Now go to the bathroom. Away, dear. Away."
No, it's the jump he does up on the bed, and he's like a monkey. He's like, "Give it a little belly rubs. All right, away." And it's let me show you what
you're gonna take a little
21.
Well, I do want to move on. I do want to move on to a more entertainment level question about this before Cora has to bounce out for the night. Where do things go for Johnny Depp and Amber Heard? Because Johnny Depp has, I think, 2 projects that are in development right now, and Amber Heard, I think, has 3 or 4.
More.
She's got. Well, I mean, they're in development. Well, there's actually, I think 1 or 2 of them are already in production.
They haven't been canceled yet, Frank.
Well, yeah, they haven't been canceled yet.
Isn't the Aquaman thing under Warner Brothers?
Okay,
She's
Aquaman.
done. Her contract's done, though.
Okay,
it was a 3-movie
I know.
contract.
I know, but my point is, they are not. They obviously, I'm sitting here waiting because I'm like, they didn't do jack shit about Ezra Miller. So I'm like, are you going to finally do something with her? Like,
hold on.
They did. They cut her down to 10 minutes in the movie.
Old management didn't do anything about Ezra Miller.
I'm just saying, man.
Zaslav runs everything now since they just got bought a couple of weeks ago by Discovery, and he has been there. He's been swinging the hatchet big time. And
he better throw one right into her damn dome.
I'm pretty sure that he is that he's got the axe head hovering above both Ezra Miller and Amber Heard's necks right now, as far as their time with Warner is concerned. So I would imagine both of them are gone very within the next year. Now, as far as Aquaman 2 is concerned, the movie's already filmed; it's in the can. Having to reshoot scenes, if you wanted to recast her, having to reshoot scenes and stuff like that is probably prohibitively expensive. You don't want to spend another $20 or $30 million reshooting 10 minutes of footage.
Said they cut her out of everything they could have, but they couldn't cut her out of scenes that were important that she happened to be standing in.
Well,
her suit is green. You can very easily green screen her ass out of there.
True.
Problem solved. You're welcome. Hire me, Hollywood. I got you.
And that was the argument in court.
True.
Because she said she got paid for Aquaman 2. So even if they cut her all out, she got paid for it.
Well, it depends on.
Johnny, donate your $10 million to go fix that movie. You're welcome, guys.
Some of that depends on contractual stuff, because believe it or not, and I have no idea what her contract says. Sometimes there are contractual things worked in there saying I will have a certain amount of minutes of time in the film and yada yada yada. Oh. I don't know that she has any of that in her contract. I don't know that she does or doesn't. I'm not 100% sure. But all I'm saying is if they're going to move forward and go ahead and release The Flash, just given the stuff that Ezra Miller's been doing off camera and all the chaos he's caused, they probably are in the same position with her as far as Aquaman. Yeah, you can cut her out a little bit and reduce her screen time, but I mean, she's kind of an important character. She's kind of, in a sense, kind of the right-hand man to the Arthur Curry character, to Aquaman. So it's really, really hard just to cut her completely out without having to completely re-edit the entire film to it.
He won't cut her out of this one.
Yeah, so they're not going to completely cut her out. Cut her down, that's a possibility. Again, I don't know what her contractual obligations are, but they will probably cut her down. She's definitely not going to be a part of the marketing. I mean, when they start doing a Comic-Con's coming up here in a couple of months, about a month. I don't think she's going to be at the panel at Comic-Con.
Every time she has a microphone in front of her, she'll talk about victims' rights, and because she's trying to paint her, she won't be able to stay on point.
Yeah, true.
Can't trust her.
Now, even contractually, there are times where Warner can say, you can go out there and help plug this movie, but if you say shit about your personal stuff, then we're yanking you off stage.
Oh.
Because again, I don't know how her specific contract is worded, but generally speaking, and this has come up a couple other times in much smaller cases, like somebody will go out on stage at a thing like a Comic-Con and try to promote a new movie, but they have some other stuff going on, and somebody will ask the question, "What about this other thing?" And they're like, "I'm here to talk about that right now. I'm here to talk about this great movie that we made," and yada yada yada, and give that kind of an answer. So if I were them, I'd say, if you want to do this, then that's what you're going to do, but they're not going to put her out there.
But even having her there,
there's no way they're putting her out there to market this movie. There's just no way. For mostly because the public opinion on her is so bad.
She might get a gig being a rep for some type of victim right. I have a strong feeling
if there's
somebody who believes her with money is going to back her and create some type of
a Lifetime movie,
political action committee, or some type of charity, and make her the fucking spokesperson.
Well, looking at her career as a whole, her only real big movies that she's done are the Aquaman movies. She's done a lot of smaller stuff. She has earlier in her career, and one of the reasons why she got cast in Aquaman is because early in her career, some of her acting roles did get her some critical acclaim. People looked at her and said, "Wow, she did really, really good in this movie," and that's one of the things that helped propel her up to getting the role of Mira in Aquaman. So it's not like she can't act, but she's got such
objection.
All she did,
speculation.
All she did to build up her own career was to get to the point where she got an audition for Rum Diaries. Everything else is Johnny Depp. Let's be very honest.
Well, they were in that movie together.
No, I don't think so.
True, but
did you hear the testimony of Johnny Depp where he basically said that she went to the audition for Aquaman and she came back saying they're not sure about me in reference to Australia, meaning because she can't go back to Australia. He called his buddies at Warner Brothers and got her the fucking job.
Yeah, but
Everything after.
I gotta be honest.
He picked her for Rum Diaries himself.
That was Rum Diaries. That's a movie that cost about 25 cents to make compared to some other movies.
I know,
compared
but
to Aquaman.
it's because of that. Within a year after that movie was done, they were together. Everything is Johnny Depp after that, in my opinion.
I don't. Yeah, but what's everything after that? That's one role. That's the one big production she's been a part of.
She got herself to the audition for Rum Diaries. That's all I gotta say.
He was in Zombieland.
But before that, she had some pretty decent.
Amber Heard was
movies,
in Zombieland.
So.
Yeah,
I didn't even know who she was.
Yeah, no, Gamer. She was the apartment next to him, the one that got cracked in the face with the toilet.
God damn it! Now I gotta go back and watch that because I had no idea it was Amber Heard.
Dude, trust me, I saw someone put an edit of that on, just repeat him smacking her in the fucking face when she was a zombie. I'm like, yeah.
As far as Amber Heard is concerned, there are gonna be some small straight-to-video productions that are gonna put her in some movies just because she's a name that attracts attention. They're not gonna give a shit as to whether she was right or wrong, whether she was whatever. They're just like, this person's gonna draw attention to my movie, which cost me $12.82 to make. And that's going to help me sell a few extra copies of the DVDs. She can be in the Winnie the Pooh horror movie. She can be the bitch in the hot tub. She could. Let's roll with it. As long as she dies in the end. But it's like, so somebody's going to take advantage of her. She's going to be in a bunch of movies or end up in the $5.99 bin at Walmart. But the director and the producers are going to be okay with that because it's going to draw attention. And then maybe
or is she going to find some rich guy who thinks she's a novelty, and she's going to become a wife and get out of acting.
Because that never happens in Hollywood.
Listen,
but
I wanted tonight's show to be something you guys would remember forever. So I just want to let you guys know I pulled a lot of strings. I paid a lot of money for this, but I just want to let you guys know that I have Amber Heard here with me right now to speak her piece. Amber, what do you have to say about all this? God damn it, get on the camera, you little shit. What do you have to say about all this? What is your opinion about all this? See,
no comments.
Objection, hearsay. So I just wanted to throw a little.
Beautiful dog.
You have this now. The video will get about 1,000 views just because there's a fucking dog.
We had a dog.
We have a dog.
The difference between Amber Heard and that dog is two things. Number one, the dog's probably got cleaner fur. and number two, your dog has probably never shit on your bed.
The dog will shit outside, at least.
Not this one. Another one has.
Oh, well, that was the other dog, though. But, I think someone's going to give Amber Heard a shot just because of name recognition. I'm not saying the movie's going to be good. I'm not saying that she's going to make a big-time comeback and eventually become an Oscar winner. I think she's just going to husband
hunt until she finds some guy like Elon Musk that she can actually hold on to.
Yeah,
she's just going to...
She's already hit him, though.
Yeah.
I mean, and her other girlfriend.
Maybe he'll shoot her up into space, and that's the last time we see her. Bye.
Send her ass to Mars and see what happens.
Here is my project. We're going to shoot Amber into space.
Yeah. Maybe we could experiment on her. What happens when your suit decompresses on Mars? She can be the one who volunteers to do that for us. But as far as Johnny Depp is concerned,
he's redeemable.
He's redeemable. I mean, he's got a long history of being a hell of an actor. He's been in some great movies.
Yeah.
But he's cannot say one thing that a lot of really good actors can say. He is not a big box office draw. And he's
really not.
He's not. He does not make the money of a Dwayne Johnson. He does not make the money like Bruce Willis has made more money than him in the box office. Tom Cruise has made.
Tom Cruise.
Yeah, he's made more money. Johnny Depp, as good as an actor he is, he's done mostly kind of like art house stuff, and his big budget movies are not big. So what we're looking at right now is thenumbers.com, and these are.
You think he could make money writing a book, Frank?
He probably could. I mean, I think both of them would probably make a decent chunk of money telling their half of the story because it's like there's that.
It'll be both of them on a Lifetime movie.
Both of them have that big pocket of fans that would absolutely buy that book. So if she writes, honestly, if she decided she wanted to write a book and she got a contract or something for it, she could probably get a fairly decent advance. Probably not enough to pay off this whole thing, but if you charge $25 for that book, she's got millions of fans out there that would probably go buy that book. So she'd make a chunk of change. I'm not saying the book would be legible. Mm-hmm. I'm not saying that it wouldn't be like 99.9% fabrication, with the exception of by Amber Heard. That'd probably be the most honest thing in that book. But it would sell. I think both of them would. But I mean, we're looking at Johnny Depp stuff right now on stage. 3 of his last 4 movies haven't even been released in the United States yet. Minamata, I've actually heard, is a very, very good movie. I have not seen it yet because it hasn't gone through wide release yet. But I've actually heard that was very good. But I mean, most of his stuff, if you look at it, Fantastic Beasts is the most recent big movie he's done, and he's not the lead in that. He is just one character of many. It's more of an ensemble thing, but he's not the lead. Sherlock Gnomes.
Well, his life's been kind of shit for a while, so.
Well, I mean, besides, he's never been a draw. Sherlock Gnomes, animation, sure. Murder on the Orient Express did not do what they wanted it to do. What's that?
Maybe he should do some TV or something.
He thinks he's too big for TV.
He's not.
He's not, but he thinks he is. That's
You know how many actors start off on TV,
He did.
work their way up? I mean,
21 Jump Street.
I was like,
That was
Yeah.
what made him famous.
I know, but
Yeah.
with all these projects that like Netflix and Amazon do with, amazing actors who are known for film, he could find something. I honestly don't think he wants to work very much.
Here's Johnny
more.
Depp's biggest problem: there's this saying in sports that winning is a great deodorant. Okay, so when it comes, and this is one of the things that was talked about with like the whole Colin Kaepernick thing. I don't want to go down that rabbit hole, but it's like people will be willing to put up with you if you bring in the wins. He really only had the one season and didn't have a whole lot more to go on. It's the same thing with Johnny Depp. He's made a ton of movies and he's gotten a lot of critical acclaim for them, but they don't make billions of dollars. I mean, it's like the last Pirates of the Caribbean movie that came out in 2017. Just short of $800 million. Everything past that, I mean, they're not big money.
As well.
They're not big money.
He earns, it seems.
Alice Through the Looking Glass didn't do nearly what they wanted it to do. Black Mass, which is actually one of my absolute favorite Johnny Depp movies, he is super good in that as James Whitey Bulger, didn't make $100 million worldwide. Didn't make $100 million. I mean, some of these stuff, Transcendence, which I actually think is a pretty decent movie, barely broke 100. The Lone Ranger, he's not really the star of that either. 260, that was a Disney thing. Rango was good, but I mean, I'm kind of like walking past the animated stuff because those kind of have. They have a little bit of a ceiling anyway. A lot of the animated stuff, they're not really going to hit the $1 billion mark. So I mean, I'm kind of walking past those. But I mean, the Rum Diary, good movie, 21 million worldwide. Again, Pirates of the Caribbean, just over $1 billion. Rango, not even 25% of that. The Tourist, not a good movie, bombed.
So do you think he needs to work?
I think that he wants to work because he's an actor and actors want to work. But I don't mind him being choosy of his roles because films are a form of art, and these people that make these films, the producers, directors, and actors, they are artists. So they care about the product that they're putting out there because you only have one opportunity to make a movie. If you make a movie and then you go back and watch it 5 years later, I'm like, oh, I wish I would have done it differently in that scene. Tough shit. I mean, you might be able to go back and edit your book or something like that in the computer, but once it's out there on celluloid, it's done. Or on digital anymore these days. But I mean, he's just not a big enough draw. And it's like...
Well, maybe it could be now, though.
You know what, though? I don't know, because of all the people that were really interested in this whole thing, it's like, it seemed fairly split. Like, half of them were Team Johnny, half were Team Amber. So it seems like it's going to go, it seems like half the crowd's going to be turned off. Now, if you look at this in the worldwide box office, again, you've got, the two Pirates of the Caribbean movies and one Alice in Wonderland movie made $1 billion, and then it's just downhill from there. And what's really sad is some of these are good movies. Public Enemies, I thought, was a really good movie. Sleepy Hollow is a really good movie. I wasn't big on Sweeney Todd. It's just, the movie didn't do it.
It was
for me.
weird.
I like Sweeney Todd,
but some of his
Go ahead.
No, I would say some of his best movies, they didn't make any money. Like like I said, Black Mass didn't break 100 million. Blow, which is my favorite Johnny Depp movie.
I love that movie.
Fucking amazing. 83 million. From Hell, another great movie. 68 million. Donnie Brasco, 65 million. Edward Scissorhands, and again, you're getting really early in his career, so the money starts to get a little weird if you want to adjust for inflation, which I think is a dumb thing to do with movies. But I mean, all this stuff that he's done just doesn't make money. So the question is and he's got the history of being difficult to work with. So you've got a history of being difficult to work with. You've got the worry that half the crowd that you're trying to get buying movie tickets is going to be turned off because of this whole trial thing. Are you going to put him in a big movie knowing that that's the little bit of dynamite that you're playing with? And he's not a draw. If this were, look, Tom Cruise, you could argue is second in command of a cult. And that guy wants to go make
Yes.
a new Top Gun or fucking Mission Impossible 87.
make it happen.
Paramount's like, here's a check for $300 million. Go have fun. You know why? Because that motherfucker's gonna bring in the money. That's why. That guy being on the poster is gonna sell 1 million tickets. Johnny Depp has never had that effect. He's got these 3 movies here: Pirates of the Caribbean and Wonderland.
He's an
Pirates of the Caribbean.
artistic actor. He's not a big box office actor, is what you're saying.
But that's what I'm saying.
Yeah,
it's
but
like they'll take a chance on him if they can make bank. But if there's a chance, like even if it's a movie that costs $20 million to make, which is peanuts anymore for Hollywood, I mean, you got to think that movie's got to make $40 to $60 million to be a profit. It's like, I mean, that's a lot. Standard.
It's not like he's out here he's not gonna sit here and make 20 fucking Fast and the Furious movies. That's not the point. I don't think that's the point. Look,
and for all these people saying that he lost the Pirates of the Caribbean because of this, you guys need to understand something right now. Pay attention to some of the stuff that happened before all this. They were going to move off him anyway. They
even said they were.
The Pirates of the Caribbean movies, box office wise, they were in a downspin. The box office was going down. The last one made a good chunk of money because everybody thought it was going to be the finale. I think that they brought back Orlando Bloom for a little part of the movie, so they kind of had a little bit of the original cast back together again. So a lot of people went to see that because they thought it was the finale. They had decided a long time ago. I mean, they were talking before even the last Pirates of the Caribbean movie came out about rebooting it with Zac Efron. Like years ago. I think even before him and Amber Heard even started dating. He wasn't
going to sing, was he?
Well, there was. I think No, he wasn't going to sing. It was going to transition for like. What was he going to play? At one point, he was going to play the son of Keira Knightley and Orlando Bloom. At one point, and that didn't work out. And then he was going to be the new Orlando Bloom. I mean, there was a lot of different things, but they were going to move off him a long time ago. So all these people that are saying that he lost out on $10 to $15, $20 million for the next Pirates of the Caribbean movie, he wasn't getting it anyway. Disney said a long time ago, we're getting ready to move off him. We're getting ready to move off Jack Sparrow. We might do a Pirates thing again, but maybe not with a Jack Sparrow character. Maybe make it a bit more traditional. So, I mean, look, the guy doesn't draw. I mean, he's got 3 movies right there that made $1 billion. And look, I'm not saying a $276 million movie is a bad thing, but I mean, a lot of his movies, they just don't make the kind of money that some of these other people make. So if I'm going to attach myself to a guy who's carrying some baggage, I can't imagine that. I can't imagine that I'm going to attach myself to a guy who's going to probably hurt my box office, even if it is for a rather low budget movie.
I guess to play devil's advocate here, somebody that does, who's a good buddy of his, who does believe him, is Robert Downey Jr. We've said this before. Did you ever fucking believe that guy was going to be Iron Man? And gets to the point where he's at now?
Well,
it's because of him that Johnny has a new chance in another movie. He's even said that he wants to.
If he relapsed, do you think he'd still be playing Tony Stark?
No, but I'm saying he didn't.
That's my point. He didn't.
But my point is he didn't.
He proved to himself that he can be the draw again. He proved to everybody. He proved to Marvel and then eventually Disney, when Disney bought Marvel, that he can still be the draw, that he can keep his shit together. You don't hear anything about Robert Downey Jr. off the set. You don't have him in courtroom battles with his ex-wife because somebody shit on someone's bed or threw a bottle at somebody. You don't hear that shit about them. So he can be the big draw and not get in trouble off set. Johnny Depp cannot do that. He also doesn't have a history of being hard to work with. Maybe early in his career he might have been a little bit difficult. I've heard some stories. But for the most part, Robert Downey Jr. just shows up and does his thing. Johnny Depp's the one who's like, I don't want any blue M&Ms in my green room. He's one of those people. It's like, so that's what I'm talking about. If you're going to be that high maintenance, you've got to come with a certain amount of tickets that you're going to sell. I don't think he does it. So I think he's going to get more roles. His days of being a star are over. Unless he can go. Look, he's getting up there in age. I mean, he's not an old man. He's not an old man, but he's not a young one either. You know what I mean?
No, I was like, he's almost 60 now. He's like, what? He's 58, 59 now. So yeah. I mean, he's had his time. I mean,
he's going to get some roles, and he can prove to people that he can go on set and still kill it and not be obnoxious. But I mean, the prime of his career is done. It's over.
I agree.
You say like it's a bad thing.
Potentially could be true.
He's done
I think he has to create it. He has to create a new type
He
of.
wouldn't have had all these people, like, this entire, I would say the entirety of the internet just all behind him. You know what I mean? The people outside
They're
the
not the ones who are
courthouse
going to hire him
screaming.
and finance the movies.
But they're the ones that are going to go watch the movie if it happens. That's the diarchy here is like,
Maybe.
well, you want people, if you put something out there, these people are going to be like, yeah, I want to go see it. We love Johnny Depp. You know what I mean? I think that's still the momentum that they're like, hey, if you heard a new movie of his is coming out post trial, you're like, oh my God, let's go see it. I don't know.
I'll tell you,
Now,
I'm never going to see a movie Amber Heard's in ever again.
I would watch,
maybe
again,
that
I would,
effect is there.
If
I
the
would watch
trailer's
Obi-Wan
fire,
just to watch her. Fuck you, Frank.
I probably won't be.
I would watch it just to-
Amber Heard is Christopher Robin's mom, Winnie the Pooh, Blood and Honey.
Look, like I said,
Oh, bother.
I weirdly, I do like a movie that she is actually in is Never Back Down. I really like that movie. It kind of resonated with me at the time it was out. It was like when I was in high school, and it's kind of like a martial arts type movie. So I'm like, I like it. I identified with it, and she plays like the, I guess, the love interest, and it's ironically enough, she has like kind of a narcissistic, abusive boyfriend who's obviously the kind of the antagonist to the lead character, and I'm like, yeah, well, that's in hindsight that's kind of funny now, but I like that movie, and she plays the character pretty well. They all play their parts pretty well, and it's got I'm gonna butcher his name every damn time I've said it. Oh damn it, he was in Guardians. He was also in Captain Marvel.
Chris Pratt?
No, the bald
The wrestler
black guy.
Oh,
No,
Desmond Hanzu.
That's it. I was not gonna try and say it. He's in it. Like, it's, I think even early in his career, shit. But it's and fucking Evan Peters is in it too. So what's not to love about this movie? You know what I mean?
Awani's got a great suggestion in the chat that would be perfectly ironic. Hire Depp as the new Mara. Recast Mara with Johnny Depp.
I've seen that. I've also seen somebody who made a petition to be like, put Bruce Campbell in there as Mara. I'm like, I don't care, whatever.
Johnny Depp has range as an actor. I bet you could do it.
That's where we have that little clip.
You might want to de-age him and put a lot of
Pirate.
makeup on, but I mean, he could probably do it.
Yeah, Never Back Down. Yeah, I remember that movie.
Wouldn't that be the ultimate irony? Could you imagine? Could you, like, every time he looked at the camera, there would just be that smirk on his face, like, bitch. That would be
Aquaman.
awesome.
Someone made that a clip as in Pirates when he jumps off the boat and he goes to save Elizabeth for the first time. They put Aquaman as he falls down. As he dives off the boat. I'm like, Aquaman. Like, damn it.
Talking to fish.
All right.
But I don't know.
I went to a fish and I went like this.
Let's start to wrap up on this a little bit because I know Lady Cora's got to get out of here and do some stuff. But I don't know, any final thoughts on this stuff before we move on?
You will always remember this is the day you almost caught Captain Jack Sparrow.
Good luck. That's all I can. That's all I can say. Good
We'll
luck.
see what
Good riddance.
And we'll see what happens.
I'll say it was refreshing watching the Jubilee today instead of Court. I look forward to finding something else to watch while I'm working.
I watched a little bit of that earlier, yeah, the Jubilee. But
I didn't because I'm American. Fuck those people across the pond.
Oh,
Holy-
we're all from there. Well, most of us, some of us.
Yeah, I'm
Or
from here. I mean, I wasn't.
historically speaking, I guess.
I know.
Culture.
Well,
when it comes to Johnny Depp and Amber Heard, I'm like, you know what, you guys, whatever your guys' personal shit is, figure it out. It's not really for me to even worry about it anymore now that this thing is over with. As far as I'm concerned, the legal system, which as flawed as it sometimes can be, is still the best in the world. The legal system did its thing. I say you guys just deal with it and move on. I'm sure there's going to be appeals and whatnot, but I mean, whatever. Just go be artists.
Right.
My advice to both of them right now are go be artists. Move past this. Concentrate on your art. Johnny Depp is very, very good. Despite the fact that he doesn't draw the money that a lot of people do, he's been really, really good in a lot of really, really good movies. Concentrate on your art. Amber Heard, you're still young. You have time to build some kind of a career. It's probably not going to be the kind of career you wanted. You're not going to be Jane Mansfield, or you're not going to be that kind of a name. But just concentrate on your art, make movies, make stuff, enjoy what you do, enjoy your craft, try to get good, try to get better at it, and just go do that. Look. The reality is it's like if you'd had either one of us to give $10.5 million to anybody else, we'd be kind of pissed. But when you're in Hollywood, that's the kind of money that you can make in like a year or two. So it's like, yeah, it might take her a year or two to catch this up, but that's not a great deal of money for someone who plays in that circle. All she has to do, look, Nicolas Cage paid off a whole lot of IRS debt by doing a lot of direct-to-video shit, and some of it's actually not bad.
That's Nicolas Cage, though. He's just some weird little charm about him, and ironically, he is the one who told Johnny Depp he should be an actor. So thank you for Nightmare on Elm Street, Johnny, for getting sucked into the bed and shit back out. That's a bad pun, but he got shit back out of the bed, which is kind of ironic now.
That was well said.
So many memes.
It wasn't me, Johnny. It was Freddie. Freddie did it, Johnny.
But I do want to move on from this now and give Lady Cora a chance to bow out while she goes and handles her things. Before you go, Lady Cora, where can the folks find you on the internet?
Nowhere. I'm a ghost, but I'm here on Thursdays.
She is here on Thursdays talking about all the craziness that goes on. And thank you, Lady Cora, for coming to hang out with us tonight. You can do your thing.
Visit. It was a lot of fun. I just have to go do adulting shit, so, you know.
No.
Better you than me, at least for the next hour or so.
All right.
Love the lighting, brooding gamer, a.k.a. Alan Grant.
I'm Jimmy Buffett tonight.
Yeah, like today I'm Jack Sparrow. So
nice.
Where's your guitar?
Captain.
All right, good night, gentlemen.
Jack Sparrow.
Goodbye, Lady Cora.
Yeah.
But it is time, however, to move on for just 1 second, and we'll be talking about our next story, which is Obi-Wan Kenobi has rejoined the Force with his own series debuting on Disney+. Ewan McGregor returns to play the Jedi Master, called back into service to rescue a young Leia Organa when she is kidnapped by one of the Inquisitors, only to find out that it was all a ruse to pull him out of hiding by the underlings of Darth Vader himself. Jeremy, if you can believe this, it just debuted, 5 days ago?
Friday, yeah,
and we're already halfway through the series.
Yeah, and
we'll talk about that a little bit more, but I mean, I don't know. What have you thought of the series so far?
I watched it, and I watched all those episodes in one sitting, because, I mean, I was kind of busy, and other shit was just getting piled on. It would have been cool if I had some sort of, like, holiday or something, some shit that happened this other week. That would have been kind of cool to catch up on, but whatever, I digress. Not gonna talk about that. I sat down and watched all three of these, like, right in a row. And, man, the one thing I saw, someone said, like, described it, I think maybe even just the first episode, I guess maybe the first two since they came out together, that this is, like, a nice, warm slice of, like, Star Wars pie. I was like, that's a nice way to put that. I like that it's, like, it feels... I mean, another thing that draws a lot of emotion is, I mean, John Williams is back doing the score, and I don't know why, the way it sounded and the way it felt, and I was like, this feels like Star Wars, and it feels like it fits right in that timeline between episodes 3 and 4. That's something I could totally have seen being in A New Hope. And this, all I can say is it's a lot of emotion. If I could have done the meme, I would slam my hat down and be like, emotional damage! Because holy crap, man! I mean, my jaw dropped a few times. I'm sure I'll elaborate on that in a second. But you know what? Just for what it is, and it feels like it fits. And I was glued to my fucking chair. I was just watching. It didn't even feel like an hour went by like that. I was very like, oh my god. I mean, it was nice. I'm like, oh, I have another episode to watch. And I got through that. And I was like, oh damn it, shit. Oh wait, the new one just came out today. Let's watch that. And then, man, I was like, I just didn't want it to end. It just felt like this was a movie I was watching. Like another episode or something. Like, I just did not want that shit to end. I was in it. And if we're already halfway, it makes me sad.
Is it just me, or is Disney... Star Wars has always had some moments where I'm like, ah, damn, they just decapitated that guy, or oh shit, they just did this. But I feel like with Obi-Wan, like I'm sitting there, we went to Richmond this past weekend for the holiday, and Haley's brother-in-law is sitting down on the floor watching Obi-Wan on his phone. And there was a couple times I had to sit there and go, Cody, what the fuck you watching? He goes, Obi-Wan. I'm like, but that dude just got cut in fucking half. And he goes, yeah. I'm like, huh?
I had that it's still on my phone, a suggested clip where it's like, Disney, that's too violent. Also Disney, we just watched a stormtrooper get sliced in half. I'm like,
yeah,
there's no blood and guts, but I'm like, come on.
Everybody's been been talking about how they've kind of not held back, and like Darth Vader, I think there was footage.
Oh my god!
There's someone of like dragging a woman through fire with the Force, and everyone was like, "It's pretty fucked up." Like Darth Vader's not holding back punches.
That was the part where I would say that was where I was also holding my breath. I was sitting there like they did that right with Vader. I'm like, he is terrifying. He is supposed to be an intimidating force. He walks in. I mean, you don't know what the hell he's gonna do, who he's gonna force choke next. Like, you don't know, and he has no mercy. And I believe that arc. I believe that like
more
10 years into it, and I believe it that he's really like this is the Vader that we kind of. And again, it's gonna keep tweaking me every time I think about it because I'm like, these people spent all this time making the extended universe, making all these comics and all this stuff. I'm like, this is the Vader you saw in those comics, in those extended universe things.
Yeah,
he is brutal, no mercy, just out here trying to find these Jedi, trying to do it by any means possible. And I'm like, he force chokes some dad out of a window and like holds him there, and the kid comes out, he throws the kid aside, and he just snaps the kid's neck. I was like, oh my god! Like
the fact that you. Yeah,
he like dragged that woman behind him. I was like, God, dude.
Yeah, the fact that you mentioned the comic books. There's one that I just found out was canon. And forgive me because I'm not well versed in the name of all the planets, but the planet that's like all lava.
Mustafar.
Yeah, apparently he's got like a base on Mustafar.
Yeah,
and
his castle. Yeah,
it's
Vader's castle.
Yeah,
on
Vader's castle is.
Yeah, well, it apparently gets invaded by zombies, and they're biting and turning the entire castle. Well, it turns out there's like a witch that lives there, and she's like possessed these. Sisters? I don't know,
because I'm like, this sounds like the Night Sisters because they're kind of the weird, actual witchy voodoo kind of shit.
I think so. But she's got the entire, there's like all these giant bugs and everything. So like the race that lives on Mustafar, she's got them all under her spell. They will do anything she says. And while the castle's, and the whole point of this comic was the first time and only time you've ever heard Darth Vader laugh. And which to me, just sitting there thinking, I've heard Mufasa laugh. I'm not scared of that, but it's the whole, they bite down, like one of them bites Darth Vader and everyone's like, oh shit, we're fucked. And Darth Vader, like when they get possessed, their eyes turn like this magma orangey glow. It's really cool. And Darth Vader's eyes turn that, or his helmet turns that color. And the witch says, now kill everybody. And he pulls out the lightsaber. And he doesn't speak at all. And then as this witch is giving her dialogue, you just hear Darth Vader start it. I mean, obviously you don't hear it, but you just see what would be him laughing and chuckling and everything. And she goes, I've said do it. And he goes, yes. And then just throws the lightsaber, pierces her chest. And she goes, what that? You've been possessed. And he takes off his glove to show that the creature bit a mechanical part. He goes, I'm all metal. Now tell them to throw you into the lava. And she's like, I will tell, and he puts the lightsaber to her throat, and he goes, tell them to throw you and the rest of themselves into the lava. And she's like, but half of these are your men too. I can make more. And I'm like, oh, that's the most badass thing I've ever seen. I want that.
That might have been where Vader's fist came from. He had that one special like garrison or legion of troops that were like his like crack unit of not clones, but troopers. So he always had that little special that did his bidding.
All I know is I want to hear Darth Vader laugh, and since they've been making things a lot darker, I would love to see that sort of just make a series on Darth Vader. Why don't we have a Darth Vader series yet?
Hey.
Like we've got one for
why not?
Bring Mace Windu back, goddammit. Do a
rematch.
Come on.
Rematch, motherfucker.
All I know is after that, I ended up watching Obi-Wan all the way up to where we're at now. And I've just been like, I've yet to hear the famous hello there. Like, I want that.
He came close. He came close. That pissed me off so much. I'm like,
they blue-balled you there.
I need that meme of Director Krennic where he's like, we were so close to greatness. We were on the verge, this close. I'm like, yeah. He just goes, hello. I'm like, thought I
Well,
said it. God
you got
damn
to
it.
time that though, because that's kind of one of the things, the pieces. Of
I know,
dialogue
but if they
waiting for.
don't, if we're already halfway there and they haven't, I mean, I don't know.
It'll be last episode.
Yeah,
Probably.
don't
I
know.
do like that they're bringing a lot of characters from. Get away. To my knowledge, the only place I've seen them was the Clone Wars series, which they're really starting to bring those characters into the light. No pun intended with the goddamn bugs. They're really starting to bring a lot of those characters into the light. That when I saw most of the episode from Cody's phone down at a good length, and I'm like, I remember seeing him on the Clone Wars cartoon back when that was on. What was that? It was on Cartoon Network for a while. Then Disney, when Disney bought them, they started airing on Disney. But I was like, I seen him on that, and then they showed, like, I've seen pictures of the bounty hunter, the alien who reminds me of the alien from Destroy All Humans, but with like a cowboy hat and everything. And I'm like, they even fucking brought. Yeah, I was like, they even brought him into the show. I was like, they're really just saying, like, fuck it, let's grab who all we want and throw in here. And
Yeah,
it's working. It's really cool, and it's working. And
it's working.
it's working. Star Wars has always had, for me anyway, has always been a little difficult to grab me and pull me in and hold me to a point where I can sit and watch the show or the movie, that whatever I'm watching. But I have to say, Obi-Wan is, which for some reason a lot of people say is not, they're like bashing on it hardcore. And I don't know if it's just there's a side that I'm not seeing, but I, not being a huge Star Wars fan, fell in love. Absolutely loved it. And I don't see where all the hatred is that people are coming out of the woodwork and being like, this is actually a really shitty show and it's not Star Wars, even though, like, as Jeremy put, you know, with, you've got oh god dang, I'm so sorry, I'm distracted here. I got everything biting me all of a sudden. You've got John Williams come back for the score, and you've got all these things that Jeremy said, this is Star Wars. This is making me feel like it did when he was growing up. We were both growing up.
Yeah, I did.
I even felt a little bit like that. I kind of got taken back to my days of still having, like, I think I was like, when the first movie came out, and, I loved going through Taco Bell because they had all the cool Star Wars cans of Mountain Dew and the weird toys that, the Darth Maul that I actually still have to this day. It's just half of Darth Maul. No joke on that one, but it was just like a keychain you attached to a backpack. Stuff like that. It brings back like childhood. I'm like, I don't know why this just brings back the nostalgia pang of the past.
Yeah, I didn't sit there for 10 weeks building a fucking Millennium Falcon out of Legos for no reason.
No, you did not.
Go watch those videos, by the way. Those are
because
posted.
he's dedicated. Damn it.
Yeah.
My boss, one of my doctors, is pissed off at you, technically me, because I brought up the whole $800 Millennium Falcon, and then her husband goes, there's an $800 Millennium Falcon. And then one day she comes into work and she goes, do you have any idea how pissed off I am that my husband comes home with a big box? And I go, oh, cool, it's a Lego Millennium Falcon. And he just lets slip as the kid goes to play with it. He goes, that's $800. He did not want her knowing. And he let that slip. And then she goes, because of you opening your mouth. I'm like, it wasn't me.
It wasn't
Parlay.
me. That is hearsay.
Parlay!
Objection,
And like,
That's speculation, goddammit.
I love the series, and I'm not a big Star Wars fan, but I absolutely love it. I think it looks awesome.
I am, and I could sit here for another fucking 3 hours telling you everything. What do you think, Frank?
What do you guys think of the young version of Leia Organa that we're getting?
That's where I was going next. If you were going to go there,
I think she is spot on.
She is fire. I can believe. I've seen it so many times. I've been trying to avoid, since I only watched these yesterday. It's been pretty good about avoiding memes, but I've seen a few where I'm like, what? Why does that make sense? The Red Hot Chili Peppers. What the fuck are you talking about? What? Oh. And I stared at the face of Flea, and I was like, oh, motherfucker, that's him. Okay, now it makes sense. What? Anyway, now it all makes sense. But I keep seeing the same one, and I finally shared it again. I was like, I can totally believe that this little girl grows up to be the Princess Leia we saw in Carrie Fisher. I've heard a lot 100%. About that.
I heard
I
a lot
believe
of
it.
I heard a lot of people kind of shitting on that little girl at first, and then finally
Nah.
people were coming on the internet. They were like, "You realize that like this is what we saw from Princess Leia in A New Hope, like this
Yeah.
precocious, way too smart for her own good,
Rebellious.
already kind of fearless to a pretty crazy extent. They're like, this is her." It's like if you go back and watch Princess Leia throughout A New Hope and compare these two people to each other, this young version and this older version that we knew, it's like these two people are they're identical. Why would you shit on this? For one, the little girl's adorable as hell.
Yeah.
And for two, like I said, she is the young version of the girl who would become a senator or get her PhD at 18 and become a senator at 19 or some shit like that. It's like you believe that this is the young version of the Carrie Fisher that we had as Princess Leia. I think this casting and the way that they've put this girl in that role is just perfect.
It breaks my heart because I'm like, I know, we all know Carrie would have loved to have seen this little girl do her thing on screen.
Absolutely.
Holy shit.
She has really big shoes to fill just in this short series alone.
Hey, well, she clopped through them big shoes throughout this whole. I love it.
I know, and it scared me because we were watching it. I was watching it here in the living room TV, and my mom wanted to watch it with me. So we're watching it, and she actually had to stop and go, "Okay, is that like a CGI? Like, did they kind of fake her to look like Carrie Fisher?" I said, "No, to my knowledge, that's exactly what she looks like." And she's like, "That's just the scariest thing."
Have you guys noticed the visual cues with her, like the hairstyles?
I was gonna say it's her hair and her outfit.
Yes.
It looks like episode 6.
Yes, they've absolutely done that. Designed her whole look to show you, to give you visions of how we saw Carrie Fisher in the original trilogy. Like the one outfit, kind of like one that she wore in the woods in Endor, and then like in the beginning, she's wearing kind of those gowns, those dress gowns, like she would wear when she was doing her political stuff. So
there was one that looked like the one when she was on Bespin too, like the little white and orange thing. Yeah. I was like, the little like the braided up buns and shit. I'm like, yeah, it's her.
Yeah, they are giving us a 10-year-old version of Princess Leia that is spot on. Absolutely.
Yeah, like you really can't tell me in like 8 or 9 years you can't believe that is going to be Carrie Fisher. You can't tell me it's not.
Yeah,
I guarantee you, when they had to do the casting for this, they had a bunch of little girls out there, and there's like, no, all of you move. You come here. You all can go home now. Well, I haven't even spoke yet.
They had a good idea as to how they needed to approach casting this little girl, because if you remember when Carrie Fisher passed away, unfortunately, there was this big question of, we still have this last movie to make. How do we deal with it? Do we recast General Leia Organa? Do we have her die off screen? Do we do a CGI thing, kind of like what they did with Paul Walker when he passed away after the last couple scenes of The Fast and Furious? What do we do? Well, you couldn't kill her off screen. That would have been terrible for the character. Everybody would have hated it. Recasting was kind of what I wanted them to do, because I think there are plenty of actresses out there, people that were friends with Carrie Fisher, that would have approached that role knowing that this was them carrying the torch the rest of the way for her. So that's kind of what I was hoping they would do. The CGI thing, there's some ethics there. There's some weirdness that it's going to take some time to get past. There was no time to get past that. So they did everything they could, and I think it ended up being as good as it was going to be, because let's face it, somebody hated all of those options equally. There was no way you were going to win. I mean, unless you pulled out some insane miracle, there was no way you were going to win. So going into this thing, it's a lot of the same thing. It's like, look, we have to make sure we nail this, because if we just put some kid in there to read lines, us as fans, we have a certain expectations of Leia Organa, whether she's 10 or 20 or in her 60s later on in the franchise. We have certain expectations of what her character is going to be. So we have to very carefully craft this character, and it starts with finding the right young actress to put out there, the young Leia Organa that we all expect to see. And they hit it. Boy, they bullseyed that one big time. Yeah, and I think that's one of the reasons why this show works so well. And on top of that, it's Ewan McGregor. I mean, if there is any...
She works well with him.
There is a lot of really good chemistry between the two of them. And it's not necessarily a father-daughter chemistry. It's just a fun chemistry. It's like they get along. They're good together. And I think they're only going to get better as time goes on.
when the story plot started to come up, I was like, wait a minute, she like when you think about episode 4 in New Hope, I'm like, Princess Leia knows who Obi-Wan is. That's who she sent R2 to go take this message to in the first place. So I'm like, wait a minute, they had to have met. So when I'm like, oh, if this is like that first point, they met each other. I'm like, this is gonna start building that trust, which obviously she was stranger dangering all the way down the fucking road. I'm like, this is not the time, child. Like, I get it though. I mean, it's still it works. And yeah, of course, when he saves her from falling off that building with the Force.
Yeah, I have some canon problems as far as that's concerned, but I'll talk about that in a second.
Whatever. Well,
the other thing that I really, really liked about this is we are getting Vader at the peak of his evil. Because you got to remember, it's way down the line that Luke comes along and finds and manages to bring out the good in him. We've all seen how it ends, but it's like you are seeing Anakin is 100% committed to the dark side at this point. So
this is like the anger and stuff.
That scene where he's walking through the village and Obi-Wan is hiding and watching, and he grabs that one guy and like he's holding him up with the Force, and the one kid comes out yelling, "Dad, Dad." And he just reaches out and snaps his neck without a second thought. Just kill. It's like, because killing a kid is touchy territory when it comes to movies and TV. And they did not fucking play around. He was just like, done. That kid
got a thing for the younglings.
And I was like, wow, that shows right there that we have the worst version of Darth Vader that ever existed in canon. Ever.
Yeah.
Like, this guy does not fucking care. He is 100% ruthless. I will kill everybody that gets in my path to get what I want, and what I want right now is Obi-Wan.
He's still trying to clean everything up, and that's what I'm saying. Like, I'm like that we're getting to that Vader in this time period between 3 and 4, where, like you said, we're seeing him at, like, his absolute... We all know, you say the wrong thing to Vader, you do something even remotely not the way he saw you imagining you do it, and he force chokes your ass and you're done. I'm like, but yeah, like you said, we're seeing that. Like you said, he killed a kid without even thinking about it. Like, and like I said, they just dragged that woman with the Force like it through the street behind him, and everyone's just sitting there cowering like this. And I'm like, yeah, well, no shit. When you want to know when this dude walks in the fucking room, it's like you have no idea. And it's fear, and that's what he was. He's always had
that foreboding or foreboding. He's always had that foreboding look to him. He's always been that, like, and he's usually got an amazing score behind him. But I want to say that this is probably the first time that he has. It's probably not the first time, but to me, it is that he has deserved the name. He has deserved the foreboding thought of anytime you hear God, motherfucker. That anytime you hear his name, you get to you get that like the chill down your back. That really makes you feel like boss music is about to kick in when you have him now, snapping a kid's neck like he is. Jeremy, you're frozen. I don't know if he's frozen. He's frozen from me.
I don't know. He'll work it out.
Just and dragging that woman behind him, killing the kid. And just, it's like this is where that fear really does kick in. And I mean, there was I don't remember which movie it was where he, it's him, one continuous shot of him breaking through the door and it going down the hallway and him just slaughtering people left and right as he's going. And there's no music. There's no super special effects or anything. It's just the sound of his lightsaber. There we go. I think he's back.
Yeah, that was weird.
Yes, good video for Jeremy again. Anyway, go ahead.
Carry on.
It was fucking terrifying and it may have been Rogue One for all I know. I honestly can't.
That scene at the end of Rogue One where he rolls in there and wreck shop in the corridor.
Yes. Yeah. And it's just like there's no music. There's no anything except for one continuous shot of. And even though it's Darth Vader coming to that door, you get this like, what the fuck is going on? Like, usually Darth Vader, the door opens, he's got guards with him, and he walks. He doesn't really do anything on his own.
One of the best parts about that shot is you don't even see him. All you see is dark and smoke.
Exactly.
And then all you see is his lightsaber. Go whoosh and opens up. You don't even see him. You just see the red lightsaber extend out, and you're like, oh fuck.
Oh, I saw that movie.
I like that they
just as like Go ahead.
When I opened up Obi-Wan, and then like the little graphic that was there is like, you just see in the left side of the frame, you just see like a cape, and you see the lightsaber activated, and then you see Obi-Wan in the distance over here, and I'm like, oh my good god, it's that same thing where that's a shit yourself moment. Like, and Frank has talked about this so many times. Actors that you see it in their eyes, you genuine like Obi-Wan is like having a fucking moment. He's having a lot of emotions run through him, especially like first off when she bomb dropped that Anakin was still alive. You see that like wash over him, and that's not even just him. That's got to be the Force. Like, you got to imagine he cut himself off from the Force like Luke did. He had to have to not be caught. And that
All
that came back to him. And
All those
like,
emotions
oh
of holy shit, oh thank God, like a lot of things in there. Like, you know, I know of course he does hate him because of what he turned into, but at the same time he does still say, you know, I loved you like a brother. So he's got to have some of that deep down in there. It always kills me how with like Jedi, they're always like, you know, you shut your feelings off, motherfucker. You don't feel anything. But then there's always like that take on, is the dark side really that bad? When they're like, no, you feed on emotions. You do these things. You do most normal things that any human would do. And then you get the Jedi Order, which that's going into a whole dumpster fire of YouTube channels that cover the who's, you know, Jar Jar's in the Sith. No, kind of channels. But you do get like, you know, who's really at fault here, and you find good and bad on both. But
now that's where the gray Jedi come in, because somebody can't make a fucking decision on what side of the Force they want to be on.
I use gray.
I do want to bitch a little bit about canon, though.
How about
tell me.
One of the things that I was very happy I had mixed emotions about it, but ultimately I was happy when Disney bought Lucasfilm, as they said, okay, we're making all the series and everything stuff, everything that comes out now is going to be canon with the films. So all the books and expanded universe stuff all became legend, or whatever they called it. There's different tiers of legend, yes. Whatever. I'm not going to go into all that bullshit because I just don't care. But canonically, I have a lot of questions. Now, maybe the next 3 episodes are going to answer some of those questions in a way that I'm satisfied with. I doubt it. Here's my problem. We see in episode 4 of New Hope, the message that gets delivered to Obi-Wan by Leia. She says, "You once fought beside my father in the Clone Wars." Don't you think it would have been like, "Do you remember me? I'm the girl that you saved from the kidnapping about 10 years ago?" But that I don't understand how that's not what she brings up. Now that we're seeing that it is now officially canon that this thing is happening, and it's in line with everything that happened with Obi-Wan from the end of episode 3 happening between that and episode 4. This is all real to him. It's reality now for the character. It seems odd to me that she didn't lead with that rather than, "Hey, remember you knew my dad, remember?" Not like, hey, remember you saved me from the kidnappers?
Well, I don't think they knew they were going to make the show yet. I don't think that was a thing.
That's true.
You drop something like the Clone Wars, and that is a big fucking part of Star Wars. You're like, well, yes, that's important.
But that's the thing, though, was when she mentions the Clone Wars, at that point, Lucas had already had that stuff in mind. He just chose to make 4, 5, and 6 before 1, 2, and 3. So that
I'm not saying he was going to make Obi-Wan.
Already did kind of exist in the zeitgeist of Star Wars as it existed in George Lucas's head. But
yeah.
But knowing what we know that she already put that out there, I don't know. I don't know how that works. Now, I'm okay with the fact that Vader and Obi-Wan have had another run-in since Mustafar now, and they're probably going to have another run-in here before the next 3 episodes, because there is that piece of dialogue in A New Hope when Darth Vader says, "I feel a presence I've not felt since," and then it tails off.
He does trail off.
So we have spent all these years thinking that I have not felt since the whole fight on Mustafar, but now it could be talking about anything. So I'm kind of okay with that. But there was a piece of dialogue that left that open for you to say, okay, we had another run in between then and now. But
we got a nice little in between fight. They even like we were talking about Rogue One, they compared it to that. They're like, I know people I don't know how you can't just be a giddy 10-year-old watching Vader absolutely just wreck all these troopers.
Oh, it was so cool.
I'm like, everyone's like, but how does that make any sense that, like, literally 2 days later, Vader's just like, like fighting Obi-Wan like this, and I'm like, who cares?
He had a bad day.
Cool. He I don't know. He didn't.
He was having an off day.
He didn't oil his joints that day. I guess I don't know.
He was having an off day.
I guess.
Forgot to charge.
But I'm like, you see that, and that is full blown Vader. And they're like, this one kind of had a nice mix of, kind of an in between. I'm like, he's still kind of trying to find his, I can't even say land legs. He doesn't even have. I think he's still trying to figure it out. But you do have to realize he is toying with Obi-Wan. He's not even trying to. You know what I mean? He's still just like when he fought Luke. He's one-arming him. He's not even trying to actually. He could just kill Obi-Wan like that, but he doesn't. And I know
that was one of the things that I heard some people bitching about. It's like, so he comes across, Obi-Wan. They're at that little mining facility or whatever it is. They have that fight, and he starts that fire, and he's dragging Obi-Wan around through the fire.
Oh my god!
But when the girl pops up to save him, it's like she reignites that fire, and then it's like all of a sudden the Force doesn't work through fire. And the explanation that I heard somebody saying online was that Darth Vader is so much stronger than Obi-Wan right now that he's fucking with him. That he is the boot hovering over the ant. He can do whatever the hell he wants. And
who's the master now?
Yeah,
I thought maybe
because obviously Obi-Wan has not. I mean, he digs his lightsaber out of the sand in the first episode. Obviously, he has done what Luke did for the longest time. That we find out as we get into the episodes. Was it 7, 8, 9 or whatever it is? Yeah, 7, 8, 9. That he has shut himself off from the Force for reasons that haven't fully been explained yet. But I'm assuming it's kind of because he just wants to concentrate on watching over Luke and making sure nobody comes after him, and he's not really practicing like Yoda said he was supposed to be doing. But yeah, he was
communicating with Qui-Gon though.
Yeah, he's shut himself off to the Force to the point where he's not even feeling comfortable with that lightsaber. Watch that lightsaber fight between these two. It's like, and you said it, like Vader's got he's holding one hand behind his back and swinging a lightsaber like this, and Obi-Wan's got both hands on there, and he looks like a youngling who's never swung a lightsaber before. I mean, he is just not.
He knelt down, like he was knelt down, like trying to hold it up like that, like Jesus. I mean, like I like that we kind of got another rematch, another kind of fight. It is kind of an in-between of, what we've seen. I mean, we've probably, anyone who's ever been on the internet's probably seen someone, I don't know if it's not animated, but like someone did a kind of a nice little revamp of the fight between old Ben Kenobi and Vader on the Death Star, where they kind of vamped it up a little bit, not just the basic little swings they did in 77. They just kind of vamped up that fight, made it a little more flashy, kind of, But I'm like, no, but this right here, this is nice. This is kind of a nice, like, when you watch it now, I'm like, yeah, you kind of got them where they're not really in their prime anymore, but like, well, I mean, at least Obi-Wan isn't. I keep hearing him, like, when he sees him again, he's like, your power's a weak, old man. I'm like, yeah, he basically just said the same thing, like, you can't do this right now.
I wonder
maybe that's that slight sliver of Anakin. Maybe he didn't want to kill him. Like, I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know. But he killed that kid like no problem.
Well,
did you see that? It's not Obi-Wan though. You know what I mean? It's not like Obi-Wan ran out there and said, "Hey,"
He does hear, like, when he's trying to like reconnect the Force a little bit over the course of I think the third episode. He does hear Yoda's voice saying, "Only pain you will find." That kind of thing. He also hears the flashback of Qui-Gon telling him to ask him to train the boy, making him promise. So maybe he's kind of reconnecting with the Force little by little. Part of me wants to see some kind of like Rocky training montage where he's like, fucking swinging the lightsaber and blocking the little laser blast from that little fucking floating globe.
Oh, the training remote.
Yeah, the training remote. Yeah. Part of me kind of wants to see that. But
it's funny that you bring up Qui-Gon. They actually just announced a new series that's going to be coming out. It's unfortunately in the style of the Clone Wars, but it's
Liam Neeson.
Yeah, it covers. Well, I don't know if it's Liam Neeson, but it's Qui-Gon as a child.
Well, I keep seeing, Qui-Gon's coming back, Liam Neeson's coming back, and I'm like, but not the way you think. I'm like, yeah, you had your, right there. Yeah. You would have put Ghost Qui-Gon Jinn in this show with Liam Neeson. I would have lost my damn mind.
Yeah, that would have been awesome. But it's following back when Count Dooku was still a Jedi, and they have him.
Well, wasn't he the one that trained him?
Yes.
Yeah, so because I have a
So
book
it's
somewhere where it
following
talks
that.
about. It was when Dooku was younger and he was being trained by Qui-Gon. It was a really cool book, actually. Too bad it's not canon anymore. Thanks, Disney. Again, I don't even read. And I read that shit because I'm like, well, it's Star Wars. It's cool.
I
And this
can't
is-
even read the syllabus. It's in
Oh,
the syllabus. I cannot read.
Can you read
but
number
yeah.
12? No, I cannot.
I thought it was really cool though, because when I saw that, I was like, young Qui-Gon. That's hard to say 5 times fast. And just Count Dooku. I mean, yeah, they're all animated, but I never really cared much for that animated version. But when they made it canon to everything and everything, now they're referencing it, and they've got characters from that now solely showing up. I'm like, okay, I guess we should have paid attention in class. Who are you again? I thought it was cool that they're coming back with something with young Qui-Gon, and I gotta stop saying that. And Count Dooku when he was still in the Jedi Order. I think that's going to be really cool to see how that plays out. I mean, spoiler alert, we know how that ends, but I think it'll be cool to have bring Liam Neeson back to voice Count Dooku. It'll never work, but it's worth a shot. You'll never have that Christopher voice, that booming deep.
Also, I'm sorry, I'm trying to message somebody because they won't leave me the fuck alone. But
You're
kidding.
busy.
I'm kidding. It's somebody who gives me a seasonal job in the fall. Thanks. He's trying to make plans. I didn't mean to ignore him. He messaged me at like fucking 9 in the morning. I was just trying to figure shit out. Jill. But I lost my goddamn train of thought now. What? Oh no. Speaking of which, I got it. We're back on track. Sir Christopher Lee just had what would have been his 100th birthday a couple days ago. So, happy birthday to you, my good man.
Yeah, but I'm really impressed with this series so far. Now, I want to ask you guys this in closing before we move on to the Jurassic World review. Have you guys heard about this thing at Star Wars Celebration with Ewan McGregor?
No.
What?
Okay, so Ewan McGregor takes the stage at Star Wars Celebration, and he's up there doing his thing, taking questions, talking to people, getting the crowd excited. Obi-Wan, I think that day released the first 2 episodes. I think it may have been Friday. And so he gets up there, and in closing, everybody starts to applaud, and he goes, "Hey, everybody, thanks for coming out. I hope you enjoy episodes 3, 4, 5, and 6. And as he's walking out, he goes, and 7, 8, and 9, and he says, "Thank you," and then drops the microphone and runs off. This season is only supposed to be 6 episodes long. This spurns, of course, a lot of insane debate over whether they are actually going to be giving us extra episodes of Obi-Wan this season. Now, some people thought that maybe he was saying that there's going to be a second season of Obi-Wan. Disney has already put the kibosh on that by officially labeling the series as a limited series. Now, to be labeled a limited series, especially when it comes to awards eligibility and stuff like that, a limited series means that it has a beginning and an end, and there is no part 2. There is no continuation of the story, that this story begins and ends in this one season of television. But
not necessarily.
As for awards consideration, that's what that means.
Oh, okay. Because I'm like, there was a limited series in Walking Dead, and it was 2 seasons. They knew it was boom, boom. That's it. I was like, wait, okay.
Well, I don't know I don't know the exact parameters and what they consider it, but I mean that's what a limited series is by definition. But the fact that he came out and said, "We hope you enjoy episode 3, 4, 5, and 6," and then said, "and 7, and 8, and 9," and then "thank you very much," and go on. A lot of people are now thinking that Disney's going to surprise us with a couple of extra episodes of Obi-Wan, and the thought being that at the end of episode 6, some kind of crazy shit would happen, and a little graphic would come up on the screen saying Obi-Wan will return next week, or Obi-Wan will return next season, or something like that, but probably next week. And that they've actually already shot an extra episode or 2 of Obi-Wan that is going to be released suddenly, because a lot of people are getting kind of frustrated that Disney Plus is only doing like 6 or 8 episodes of some stuff for the Star Wars stuff, and that they think that 6 episodes isn't enough. I got to be honest, right now I'm thinking that 6 episodes can't possibly be enough for this particular series.
I'm here for it.
But
So you're
I've enjoyed it so far, and I trust what they're doing. So I don't know.
yeah,
I
no,
don't want this to be 6 episodes long. I want this to be
I
like a
don't
20
either.
episode season because I'm enjoying the hell out of this so far.
Yes.
But do you think there's any credibility to this idea that there's some hidden episodes they're going to hit us with, or do you think he was just trying to beef up the crowd? He got caught up in the moment. He said what he said, and it's not really true.
Well, if that's the
maybe
case,
there'll be 3 more episodes. He'll pop in like, hello there. They'll just pop up like that. I don't know.
That's gonna be the last line of the series.
Oh,
They're gonna wait,
God.
kind of like how they waited till like right before the last battle of Endgame before Captain America actually says "Avengers Assemble."
True.
They tease us with it 3 or 4 times over the course of the series of the 20-something
True.
movies, and finally he says it right at the end. It's gonna be something like that. It's gonna be like the last line that someone says in the movie. He's gonna say "Hello there," and then it's gonna cut to the closing credits.
Right.
That's how they're gonna do it. But I don't know. Do you guys think there's anything to this, or are we just gonna get stuck with 6 episodes?
I think they could pull one out of the Mickey Mouse trousers and surprise us. To be honest, why else would he have said that? Because Disney has been known for coming out and being like, "What the fuck were you doing that for?" Now we have to do it thanks to your fucking mouth. I don't think he would have said that without having some.
Oh yeah, because when Mark Ruffalo's like, everyone dies, and they're like, oh damn it, now we gotta kill everybody in Infinity War.
Well,
damn it, Mark.
That's the thing.
It's not like that. Yeah.
Is they won't do that. They won't say, "Oh, he said this. Now we have to go do it." Because it takes a lot just to produce a couple of episodes of a show like this. So if they don't already have it shot and edited and everything in the can, it's not going to happen because you wouldn't see episodes 7, 8, and 9 for another year. I mean, it would take forever to get filming schedules of all the actors and production, all this stuff, funding. I mean, it would take a long time to get together just 2 or 3 more episodes. So I think that if there are additional episodes already made, they're just not being talked about yet. I personally don't think that's the case. I personally think he just got caught up in the hype of the moment and was just like trying to keep the hype going for that 1.5 second longer, or maybe he was talking about episodes 7, 8, 9. Of the trilogy.
I don't know.
I don't know. But I don't know. I personally don't think there's anything to it, but I would not be at all surprised. Because remember, we're dealing with Disney here. And what else does Disney own? Marvel.
Everything.
Other than that, specifically, Marvel. And Marvel is known for doing shit like this. They're known for surprising us with, not necessarily like this, like an extra episode that we didn't know about of a Loki or WandaVision or something like that, but they're known for having their way of kind of surprising us and shocking us when we're not all the way expecting it. So I think it's possible. I mean, if I had to put a percentage on it, I would say there's probably about a 10% chance. I wouldn't go above that, but yeah, I personally think he got caught up in the moment. That's what I think.
You already shocked the hell out of me, like I said, when you snapped the kid's neck. I mean, holy crap.
How can we go work?
I will say, like, when something else that I did appreciate again with the emotional punches this show's been doing, like when she's a kid, you believe Leia just kind of not even Obi-Wan calls her Leia, and those troopers are like, "You just called her Leia? What the hell?" I'm sitting there the whole time like, they're weak-minded. Just be like, this is not the kid you're looking for, the Jedi you're looking for. You could have gotten out of that. He did kind of sit back, and I was like, he's just gonna be like. But that's true. True. Well, I don't know. It seems like it might have been easier than trying to save a whole person like from like falling. Maybe just a quick little whoop. Hello, you know. I don't know. I don't know. I'm not a Jedi. I don't know.
If Obi-Wan's been practiced up on his Witcher skills, he may be able to.
But I mean, like it the way they saved that when he was like, "Oh yeah, like I said, it's just been a hard time when her mother passed away." He's like, because when he like looks at her, it says like, "Every time I see her face, I see your mother's face." I'm like, "Oh my god, this hurts." Like Jesus.
Where is my mother? I don't know. Other studio.
I mean, it does hurt when he's like, when she says like, "Wait, sorry, you my real father?" And he's like, "No." He's like, as much as I wish I was. I'm like, damn.
Oh.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Then, well, actually, there is a whole story about that in the comics with Vader too. If you want to look into that, that's some real deep shit too. Sad.
Keep it up. I mean, you've got a non-Star Wars fan
Got me.
on the edge of his seat.
You got one who is. I am in it. I like Frank. I would watch 20 episodes of this in a row.
We need to do like a Star Wars nerd watches, or like, you know how, I don't know if you ever seen Nostalgia Critic, how him and his brother will watch movies, but they'll show just the reactions and they'll have it playing in the background. Get us all together and do something like that for, it's like Star Wars fan, Jurassic World fan. Yeah, you do.
I will fight any of you.
Yeah.
Wow.
There's ways to get about it. I've never seen how, because there's like I was talking a little while back, there was a series on Apple Plus or Apple TV Plus called Prehistoric Planet, and there's a couple YouTubers I watch that do like dinosaur content like I do, but they were doing reviews as the series was playing. And I'm like, how? Like, I sat and watched like 5 minutes of it, and it was playing in the background, and you're not seeing the show, but you're seeing the YouTuber's face, and then he's got kind of like how you have your screen set up where it's like the background, and then just kind of like stills from that episode that would pop up on occasion. And I don't know how he got away with it, but I don't know if you have to have some pull, because it's the bigger YouTubers that have it. I mean, the big YouTubers that have it going, and even they still get copyright sometimes.
Yeah.
But I really don't know how they go about it.
I did notice, as I was watching Stranger Things the other day, I did notice that some of the movies, when you click on them, it actually has a watch along like button you can click. And I didn't click it because I'm like, I don't have any of that. I mean, I don't have any stuff like up to my big screen TV to do the YouTubing stuff, so I didn't know how it was going to work. But I noticed that that's on there for some YouTube stuff or some Netflix programming. So I don't know. Maybe later on tonight I'll click on that and kind of see how it works. Because I am curious. I am curious about it. But anyway, I think we'll go ahead and move on. But yeah, go give us your thoughts in the comments below. What do you think of Obi-Wan so far? I think the first 3 episodes have been phenomenal. It's been a great story. It's really great to see Ewan McGregor doing the Obi-Wan character again. I really love the little girl that plays Leia. She's every bit what I would hope to see from a young version of Carrie Fisher. And the story is intriguing, and we get to see the ultimate evil level of Darth Vader, and we're seeing him, like I said, at the peak of his anger and his hatred, the peak of him being absorbed by the dark side. But yeah, check it out and let us know what you guys think in the comments below. We'll be talking about episode 4 next week, of course. But this week, we still have one more topic we want to go into, and since we have our dinosaur expert here, the Brooding Gamer, since we have a couple of other big Jurassic Park fans, Jeremy and myself here, we've been going through all of the Jurassic Park movies, starting with the first one all the way up through to Jurassic World. What was the last one that came out? Fallen Kingdom was the last one that came out. We're breaking them all down one by one up until we're about a week away. It's the 10th. It's 8 days from today. Where Jurassic World Dominion comes out, and we'll be breaking that one down as well. But we're going to be starting out now by breaking down Jurassic World. Jurassic World is, of course, as my computer transitions over. Transition over. Turn the graphic over. There you
Dominion's already been spoiled for me.
I heard about that. I didn't want to say anything about it, though, because I stopped reading your post as soon as I read that part, because I was like, nope, I don't want to be spoiled.
Oh, no, I will never cover any spoilers, but I did put on there, I'm like, I listed off every YouTuber that was putting it up, and it's like, you know, that they're just downloading the video from each other, and I'm like, you're a dick, you're a dick, you're a dick. Yeah, really. And I named every one of them off on my channel, and there was a kid who I had to block on there because, oh yeah, when this happened, I was really mad, and I'm like, you little fucker, you're blocked too, like. And then
but Jurassic World is a 2015 American science fiction action film. It is the fourth installment of the Jurassic Park franchise and the first in the Jurassic World trilogy. It was directed by Colin Trevorrow and produced by Frank Marshall, among many other people. The film does star Chris Pratt, Bryce Dallas Howard, Vincent D'Onofrio, Ty Simpkins, who is one of the luckiest young kids in the world, if you ask me, Nick Robinson, Omar Sy, B.D. Wong, and Irfan Khan. It is set 22 years after the events of the original Jurassic Park. Jurassic World takes place on the same fictional island of Isla Nublar, located off the Pacific coast of Costa Rica. A successful theme park of cloned dinosaurs dubbed Jurassic World has been opened on the island for years, bringing John Hammond's dream to fruition. The park plunges into chaos, however, when a transgenic dinosaur escapes from its enclosure and goes on a rampage. While a conspiracy orchestrated by the park staff creates more dangers, Jurassic World was released in the United States on June 12th of 2015. The film received generally positive reviews from critics and grossed $1.6 billion at the box office, reaching third amongst the highest-grossing films of all time at that time. It was also the second highest-grossing film of 2015 and the highest-grossing in the franchise to that date. Two sequels have been produced, Jurassic World Fallen Kingdom, which came out in 2018, and the upcoming Jurassic World Dominion, which will be coming out here in about a week. Brooding Gamer, you're the dinosaur expert. Give us kind of a breakdown of what you thought of Jurassic World.
So I went and saw this movie in Florida the day, actually June 15th. I remember we were in Florida at Universal Studios with our good buddy Corey, and we went and saw it. So it felt really cool to see it kind of like in the home of where it would have come from, Universal being right down the road. Dude, the giddiness that I hadn't felt in years came and hit me like a fucking truck. And like there were so many times, like I distinctly remember when you get, when they're like, if you come to the front of the train, you'll see the original gates or whatever, even if that was a lie, when the doors open and you hear the music kick in. There's more than just me, just in our line at the theater. If you're hearing people going, yep, that's it. Like people all getting emotional, hearing the music again, seeing the gates open up for the first time in, God, what was that? 2015 when the first one came out, or when Jurassic World came out?
Yeah,
93.
Yeah, so that was 14 years since we've seen those gates open up for the first time.
Oh, yeah.
And it was an emotional kind of like for diehard fans that we're back. It's good to be back, and be back, a dinosaur's tale. Which Steven Spielberg also, I think, had a hand in that movie. I don't know, but it was awesome. I was nervous going into it because I didn't know. Now that we're introducing something that's not a dinosaur but is a dinosaur, like we're looking at the Frankenstein of prehistory here. That multiple ways that they led up to this movie where they had. How would you say it? The promotional material. There we go for the movie. Like all they kept saying is, we have something in this movie that's going to scare the ever living shit out of you, but we're not going to tell you what it is. We're not going to show you. All we can tell you is it's called the Indominus Rex. And then you have all these things where it was like, is this what it's going to look like? Is this what it's going to look like? And they wouldn't tell you. They would just say, by the way, and like Colin Trevorrow would come on to Twitter and things, and he'd be like, give you guys a heads up, it's got T-Rex DNA. That's all we're going to tell you. And then they had a picture up of downtown. Everyone calls it downtown Jurassic World, but the main street. And it was like the lights were out. You could see things were on fire, and you just saw the silhouette of the jaws reflecting on the concrete. And so everyone was like, well, what the fuck is that? And he said, oh, just so you know, it's a hybrid. And so it was like they led up to this fucking mystery all over again with like, Jurassic Park. When that first came out, you had, we're not going to show you what they look like, but there are dinosaurs on this island. They're in the movie, and we have dinosaurs. So you guys, and you don't see the dinosaur until you go see the movie. And then you get this, they did it again with the Indominus Rex. God damn it. They did it again with the Indominus Rex. Like, they just keep saying, we've got this new dinosaur. It's technically not a dinosaur. It's a fucking monster, just to let you guys know. Here's what it's made of. Little bits and pieces. We're still not telling you everything, but you'll see it. And then, so if you were smart and didn't get on the internet the entire time promotional things were being done, you could go into the movie not knowing what you're about to see. Are you going to see a fucking dragon? Are you going to see a dinosaur? What the fuck are you going to see? And when you did see it, you had one of two reactions. One was, the fuck is that? Which was Corey's response to it. He was like, what the fuck is that thing? It looks like what the fuck is that? And then you have Masrani's emotion behind it when he sees it, and he's like, am I happy? Am I scared? Am I, like, he had all these questions, like, you didn't say it would be white. You didn't have, it was just like you had all these thoughts going through your head, like, okay, my brain's registering a dinosaur, and at the same time, my brain is registering something else. What am I looking at? And then the whole movie, they just kind of, a lot of people made fun of the movie for the sole fact that, like, every time it did something new, Dr. Wu would have something to counteract it with. He's like, oh, it could turn invisible. And he's like, oh, well, that's interesting because it has cuttlefish DNA. It also did this. Well, that's interesting because it's got this DNA. And I was waiting for him to be like, it also can tap dance and sing hello, my darling, like no other. Well, that's funny. It has WB Frog DNA. Like, you know, you just kept coming back with more DNA. I'm like, how much did you fucking put in this thing? It's a 1,000-piece puzzle.
Well, I think you said the words were make it cooler. Right?
You bigger teeth, cooler, I believe you said in your memo. I'm just like, I love that whole scene. That in fact, that video I referred to a few times, the Will Dr. Wu be redeemed on my channel, I have that open up with the argument that they have together where it's like, you know, I didn't ask for a monster. Actually, you did. Let's sit down here and go over your memo.
That was gonna happen.
But yeah, and I like that this movie finally covered something that people have bitched about for years, and that's not what that would have looked like. That's not supposed to be like that. Why are the raptors so much bigger than they're supposed to be if they're supposed to be the size of a chicken? And it took all the way up until Jurassic World for Dr. Wu to finally say all the animals would look completely different if they had their original genomes. But because we used the DNA, because we used the DNA of other animals to fill in the gaps, they look completely different than what they probably would look like in real life. So it finally put a nail in the nail in the coffin on that and be like, all right, guys, shut the fuck up. This is why they never look the way you guys want them to, because we said so.
Also, just in the canon of this world and this universe, this is just what they look like. Let's just go with it. I know we were doing with what we had at the time, and like I'm glad they are starting to kind of, the more they make, the more this goes on. They started getting the little tufts, the little feathers. Now, like you said, that Pyroraptor has like almost full on wings, and he looks like he's backwards. Mm-hmm. I'm like, yeah, because we can get them closer to how they would have looked. And that was the point. Even like you said, they mentioned in the first movie, they're like, well, there's giant gaps in the DNA sequences, so we have to fill it in with something to kind of get this thing out here and make it look, you know.
So we filled in the holes. Bingo. Yeah, and it's funny because you actually would really appreciate this, Jeremy, but they recently just discussed that I refer to this website a lot, the Dino Tracker website, where they have like, oh, this is what's going on in the real world. They just recently they update it all the time. So right now we're watching, and the Mosasaurus started off here, and she's got like little red lines that show where she's been traveling to. And they get creepy.
Thing on the map, like
yeah. So if you have thalassophobia, don't watch those because they get really fucking creepy. Where it's a guy he's damn near the Mariana Trench, and you just see like the fin or the tail kind of come up out of the dark and go back in. And I'm like, nope, I don't even have thalassophobia, and that made me pucker.
Well, now I do. Thanks.
But they've been showing more scenes, and finally they just released where it said velociraptors had been found in Canada, and it's the Jurassic Park 3 fucking raptors just sitting on this concrete in this parking lot, and it's canon now. There's randomly Jurassic Park 3 raptors back in nature. Nobody knows how the fuck they got here, but they're there. And but one of them, I know because you like Jurassic Park 3 a lot, they're hinting that the Spinosaurus very well could show up on this list next. So Gaming Beaver's now on there. His picture was put up. It's like, please don't interact with dinosaurs this close like this tourist did, and it's him like putting his finger out touching a compy. But it was cool just to see they are bringing people out from Hollywood, and they've got some famous faces thrown in there and some well-known influencers that are popped up. So maybe I'll be next. You never know. It'd be nice to have the Brooding Gamer on there with something.
Hey,
I'll get eaten. I don't care.
Maybe that video, like I said, all of a sudden there's a Therizinosaurus in Ohio. And it's like, this particular person
I actually put something on Twitter, too. I said, hey, we've got this thing in Ohio. Anytime you guys want to come and take care of it, we're waiting. And
that's awesome.
It got a like and someone shared it, but I don't know who. So like, if I got a mess on there and Colin Trevorrow's like, we're on our way, I'll be like, I can die happy now. Like,
oh my God, that'd be awesome.
But yeah, it's just like, it's good to see that, you know, this series is going towards a direction where we're now kind of answering the questions that everybody's had. Like, you know, why does it look like this? Why is this? Why is that? Where on this, you know, show me on this doll where everything went wrong. It's like we finally are getting answers to things, and it's, you know, everybody's kind of coming full circle. It was really cool. Just there was a lot. I want to say this is where the fan service really started to kick in for Jurassic fans, because, you know, you get, unfortunately, a redesign, but you do get Rexy, or apparently Roberta. In the book, they call her Roberta, but they also call her Rexy in the book. I don't know what's going on with that.
I'll stick with Rexy. It's cute.
Yeah, Rexy's the best. We do, you know, we get the original T-Rex, and they actually, I was watching the movie the other night, and they don't really say, by the way, this is the original T-Rex from the island when Jurassic Park was still a thing. They don't mention it. You just kind of know.
Well,
I think the only way,
know it's her.
The only way we even found out it was her was Colin Trevorrow got on Twitter and said, by the way, this is the original T-Rex. That's why she's got all those scars on her from
scratches on her face still,
the raptor battle, and then, you know, the battles that I'm sure ensued. Well, really, she was the only carnivore on the island, I'm assuming, past that point, because all the raptors got eaten at that point. But
yeah,
we'll end the Dilophosaurus, but I don't think a Dilophosaurus is going to be stupid enough to go and be like, hey, let's go.
Stupid.
Stick stupid. But it was really good to just have all these different, I mean, you get that scene where Zach and Gray go out into the woods to try and find, and they find the front door to the visitor center, and they kind of play the very slow Jurassic Park music, and you're like, you could tell in the theater when we saw it who, you know, the true fans were, because when they walk in there, I heard a guy go, no fucking way. And I was like, see, I'm happy to hear that, because I'm sitting here like, it's Jurassic Park. And then they go in there and they show everything. It's like exactly how it was left. You know, the skeletons all over the ground still. It's just everything was left
still on the ground. The Jeep is still in the garage.
Yeah. And I mean, he still had that headset when he picks it up and it kind of turned on. I'm like, the nostalgia pang was like, my heart was beating out of my chest that whole time, because I'm like, I wanted
to go back and I just wanted to go back and look, and I don't know if it was, but they still had the tag on the rearview mirror in the Jeep, and I was like, I want to go back to the original movie. I'm like, was that one of the Jeeps they used? Because that'd be funny if it was the same. I'm like, if it was maybe Muldoon's Jeep, or was who?
Yeah, they did say it was one of the Jeeps was the one. Actually, I think an actual Jeep from the first movie. I don't know.
I believe that, but I meant like, was the tag? Was it somebody's specific? Like I said, was it somebody that drove it, or was it one of the guys when they first got there? Like,
I'm just shocked that to this day we still have not gotten anything from the can, the Barbasol can. Now, given
I don't want to jump ahead of the movie, but I'm like, I think it's kind of gone now.
That was actually initially, I think, from what Spielberg had said, that was part of either a plot line that he was thinking about for the third film, or something that he was thinking about for the fourth film that he never got off the ground.
I was gonna say, I think there had to be
the DNA in that is gone, long gone. That was only.
I know they make a point to show it.
Yeah, that's exactly what I was going to say. I think it was odd that they made it a point to follow that thing down and to see it getting covered up by the mud. Now, I thought that maybe there was just kind of like this weird like return to where you would become a fossil at some point, where, you know,
got
like,
buried,
who knows, like a billion years from now, someone's going to find that Barbasol can when they're digging around some island in Costa Rica. And, yeah, but But yeah, I've heard that they wanted to do something with that. Now, whether they do something with that in this next movie, I have no idea. I don't think they would at this point. But yeah, that was always something that's always kind of stood out to me, is like that's always kind of lingered out there.
I know it's kind of supposed to just be like it's so fun. Like, you know how much money just rolled down that fucking hill and just got it's just like, does it kind of make, I mean, it gets deep and you're like, it's just kind of meaningless. Like, it's just like, damn, it's that easy. It just fucking rolled out of his jacket and went down the hill and it's gone now. I'm like, yeah, there went that. I mean, now I want somebody to fund that damn can. I really do. I'm with that bandwagon.
I found the can
it's
at
on
Walmart.
the island.
Yeah, somewhere. I know, and like I said, I don't want to jump.
Actually,
I don't want to jump a movie
destroyed
ahead,
by
but I'm
now.
like, I'm pretty sure it's gone. Well,
Yeah, I was gonna say it's probably been destroyed at that point.
I think it got a little overcooked. So
Oh yeah,
toasty.
given what happens in the next movie in Jurassic
Yeah.
World, Fallen Kingdom. Yeah.
The only thing that I do want to mention from the sequel to this movie, it's not gonna. I don't want. Again, I'm not trying to jump ahead, but something I just watched it again today, because I honestly had only probably watched it maybe one or, I want to say one time. I don't even want to give it that much credit. I think I only watched it once. I'm sorry, but I watched it again, and the Mills, the younger guy, who's definitely totally not the nephew character from Lost World. But anyway, I digress. He like said when he shows Claire the room and he's talking about Lockwood's estate, and he says below this building that you're in right now before Nublar, or like before the park, before Sorna, all of this. I'm like wait, he said fucking Sorna, so that is canon. It's got to be.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
I was like, I forgot he name
it
dropped Sorna. It's very fast, but I was like, wait, that's the only thing we do have that connects it. And I was there thinking like, no, they've not mentioned anything. Shit, it's everything from the first, and then like,
it's
boom, now we're in here, and I'm like, no, wait a minute. Yeah, I was like, wait, he's like before Sorna, before the lab, before anything. I was like, wait, it is canon.
Psych B.
So thank God. For
How's Rachel handling watching all these? I don't know if she had seen Jurassic World already before this.
Yeah, like I said, we did that, and then just today, we watched it a few days ago. Obviously for this, so it can be in context. And then today I was like, you just want to finish it up? And I wasn't sure if she quite understood, because she was like, is there one more? And then the new one, I'm like, no, this is it. You're caught up now. That's why I was saying it. Now you're caught up with Fallen Kingdom. So, and yeah, she's after it. She's like, huh? Like, yeah, I know. You're with us now. Like, what are we doing now? Holy shit!
What the fuck? A lot of people have been bitching.
She's been enjoying it though. I will admit, like it's fun to have someone who hasn't seen it. And then I'm like, you're experiencing it for the first time, and it's
well, I hate that she's going on vacation when the movie comes out.
Right when I was gonna,
you're still welcome to come with us and see it if you'd like.
Oh no, yeah, I don't want to say I don't have a choice. I kind of had to see it, so
yeah. Why don't you just go with us? Because Haley, she's going, and there's been times that she'll be like, I don't really care. But then there's times I'll be like, all right, well, we'll just go see it. And she gets kind of mad. She's like, well, fine. I didn't really want to see it anyway. I'm like,
so we're watching dinosaurs.
So you do want to see it. Like, but I don't know. Just, I mean, we're jumping ahead talking with Fallen Kingdom. I'm saying, I've got so much shit I got to say about that.
Going back, I mean, I've even said a couple times where I'm like, oh, not to be like a horror movie. She's like, this shit is a horror movie. I'm like, if you didn't know any better, I'm like, it kind of is. And you know what? It's you see the Spielberg, you see the Jaws, where really you don't see it. You know what I mean? You don't see it, and it builds that suspense and that fear. And then, I mean, I don't know how I've had a counter for how many times she goes, oh, holy shit, oh, fuck that, no. I'm like,
wait, with World or just Fallen Kingdom?
All of them, yes. But I meant like, yeah, you see the Indominus, and then. Again, this is just speculation for the new one. I'm like, well, what's the new big bad dinosaur? Because I know Ian's like, why they gotta go bigger? I mean, like with the Indoraptor, she's like, Jesus Christ, what?
Yeah,
like,
they get smarter, and
it's terrifying. It's
creepy because they start become. Owen even says it. He's like, this animal is starting to, or no, he says something along the lines of like, it's becoming. It's learning, and then that's when Masrani's like, "You're telling me it's becoming self-aware," and he goes, "Yeah," and then she's figuring out where she fits on the food chain, and I don't think you want to know. You want that to happen because this bitch is smart. She starts doing things that we've never seen dinosaurs do before. If you want to include the raptor from Jurassic Park 3, who like stood perfectly still in that big test tube, and it's just kind of like peekaboo, which scared the shit out of me as a kid. But this
even
dinosaur,
even the Indoraptor, that little Bugs Bunny cartoony crap where he like almost looks at the camera like, I got this guy. I'm like, fuck
with
you.
the smiling. Oh my god,
he smiled. I'm like, what the fuck ever.
Again,
dinosaur.
something else. We went and saw that in theaters. I know this is jumping ahead, but there was a guy in the theater who goes, that motherfucker just smile. Like,
He did.
I always love it because every time I go to movies, I always get that one guy in the theater who just says something out loud only once, and you're like, I'm with that guy. But yeah, I mean, like, just the way.
Good.
Oh no, go ahead. You're good.
Well, no, it's in this movie, so it's one of my theater experiences. Like at the end when Blue does that little run right up to the fucking to the Indoraptor. Somebody had to make that reference. He goes, "You're my boy, Blue!" Like, we went and saw that. Actually, no. Yes.
I think that was you and me, Drew. Drew was with us.
I mean, I
went
said
with
it.
us to see it.
I know.
Yeah,
I said it when Blue. I'm like, "You my boy, Blue!" I'm like, because I heard someone
Drew
say
also
that.
yelled it, and I'm like, "God damn it!"
Yeah, I know.
But I loved in that movie because the movies had little slight references. But like, if you remember when Blue gives, right when the Indominus is going down on Rexy,
Giggity.
Thank you.
We're not writing Dino fanfic. Goddamn it! Don't do that.
Somebody already did it.
I know.
But,
things are not sacred. I know.
Blue lets out a very weak, call. And I'm going to get to that in a second with Blue showing emotion. We see a dinosaur showing emotion for the first time in this movie. True emotion, in my opinion. But they play the song from The Lost World. It's like that do, 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 do part from The Lost World. But it's when she's running, they play that just so slightly. Then she jumps up on the Indominus's face. Corey actually pointed, he goes, that was from The Lost World. I'm like, that was the music from The Lost World. But that was all we got, was that one little thing. That's in the time when the fans actually created this whole new universe where supposedly the other movies aren't canon. It's just Park, World, Fallen Kingdom, and so on and so forth. So at the time we were like, oh, so they're not canon, but they are going to do little nods here and there. So we had that. I thought that was really cool. And it's just, we saw these dinosaurs co-op and beating the ever-living shit out of this Indominus Rex.
Rexy came to throw down with Blue.
That was the first time I ever dropped the F-bomb in front of my mom. I was like, you fucking better not. She goes, what'd you just say? I'm like, leave me alone. Let me have this. I've waited 14 years.
I did my waiting.
To 12 of it. But yeah, like that whole thing. And then, of course, the Mosasaur coming out. It's like, what's that bitch just sitting there watching? Like,
we need more teeth.
Okay, now, like, that was it. Like, her summoning the Rex. Like, the whole time, you're just like, that bitch, one, ran in high heels. Two, it was the best thing in the world that the way to attract her is a flare. So somehow...
She did the Ian Malcolm, kind of did the run with it. Yeah.
Even when they were doing the goat feeding show, a flare gets thrown down where the goat is.
Yeah.
So it's like somewhere down the line... Ian Malcolm had to have mentioned, or there had to have been discussed by Ian Malcolm, Alan Grant, or somebody that are like, well, we know that the Rex was attracted to flares, so someone either watched the movie.
Well, did you see on the guy's desk, the guy that had the control center that has all the plastic dinosaurs on his desk? Did you see the book that was there?
Yeah, he was the book by Ian Malcolm's
book, because
it's also in the ride on the. When they're driving on the subway or the tram monorail to the park, there's a guy sitting there reading the book as well. And actually, Zara is also reading the book. So they're like pushing that down your throat hardcore. But so someone have read the book, be like, oh, so she likes lights. She's attracted to shiny things. But
can we you know what? This is the thing that irks the shit out of me. Can we talk about Zara for a second?
I liked her.
I love her. What did she do that she deserves that over the top, unnecessary amount of death?
It was fucked up.
I mean, I don't know. Maybe the actress was like, "Fuck it, give me your worst. I don't care." I mean, she obviously had to go along with that. So I'm like,
she did. She even said, she's like,
if you're gonna have your moment, I guess. But I was like, damn, what did she do?
She had even said that her getting eaten by the mosasaur was completely her idea. She's like, she was talking and she's one of those actresses. I absolutely love her. Not because she's hot, not because she's British.
Oh,
Those
no,
are
I'm
just
sure.
two big pluses.
It's not the accent, right?
Pluses.
No.
But it was because she's up for anything. She was like, yeah, I love being picked up and dropped 50 feet constantly with this extremely uncomfortable harness on me. But she even said, she's like, why didn't the mosasaur just eat me? And it was like, or the mosasaur could eat you and the pterodactyl at the same time.
Or once they're done playing volleyball with your ass, they're going to drop you in the water, dunk you a few times, stab you, come up, and then it's going to clap you. I'm like,
oh, I felt so bad for her. You're right, though. It was like, what the fuck did she do?
It was a little, I mean, like we said, when we focus on one thing in particular, and I'm like, that was so over the top. For what?
I will have you know, though.
Okay.
I will have you know, though, that in Jurassic World Evolution 2, since this is the first game to introduce flying reptiles along with aquatic, when pterodactyls get you or get your guest, or any flying reptile for that matter, picks up your guest and there is an aquatic area around, they will pick them up and drop them in the water. And then the mosasaur or any other aquatic reptile that's large enough to eat a person will then come up and eat the person that's been dropped in the water. It's fucking hilarious. I always have to say I love that. But one thing I was talking about earlier with dinosaurs showing emotion, and it's kind of like an up in the air situation. Like not a lot of people. It's kind of like this is what was being handled, and this is what it is, or we're overlooking it or whatever. But after Rexy and Blue have their like stare off to be like, hey, dude, we cool. Like we're not, I just helped you fight that thing. I don't want no trouble.
They
and Rexy, Rexy walks away, but Blue kind of looks back at Owen and like does like this little chirp, and he just kind of like lightly shakes his head no. And the look on her face, like for an animal, a CGI reptile, she kind of just has this like, well, now what the fuck do I do? Like all three of her siblings are dead.
And the one thing she just apparently decided to look up to just got chomped by a mosasaur. So the thing she looks at now is him, and he's even just kind of like, no. Like,
but so a lot of people don't know if she was looking at him going, are they alive? Am I the only one left? Or was it her being like, do I go with you now? And him saying no. But a lot of people seem to have leaned towards it was Blue looking at Owen and going, where are the others? Are they still alive? And him shaking his head, nope, sorry. And her kind of just having that like, how anybody would normally react to hearing, by the way, all three of your siblings have just been killed. Her kind of turning and looking back like,
sounds like a Tom Hanks movie I know of.
Ah, fucking hell.
How do you take the news that three of your siblings just fucking died? Like, yeah, well.
But it was like they put emotion into an animal that is extinct.
Well, that's the thing is they keep going into that mythos that like this animal is that smart. And again, I keep jumping to fucking Fallen Kingdom. But like, there's the training things. Like when she was little, they even like that she understands and recognizes emotion, and then she seems to have it too. That they're like, well, really, this thing is just as smart as any human could be.
Yeah, she shows empathy, and that that even leads into.
Remember, she does that little chirp, and then the other three like snap right into line with her.
Yep.
So she had that weird like they all seem to follow her. And she looks at Owen, so it's like that's the and it was they cut to like when she even like kind of nuzzles him a little bit. I'm like, yeah, she goes from like German Shepherd attack dog fighting his arm like on the brace to like she nuzzles him and like tries to comfort him. Then when she realizes he's upset.
I like that because they've always kind of put out there the notion that raptors were so intelligent. They were such great hunters. That, like that scene in the original with Muldoon where the one just stands out there and makes itself a target so the one could sneak in. They've always kind of played with that, but they've never shown how that intelligence can grow until you get to this movie and you start to... And they go into the stuff about how Owen has managed to kind of develop this rapport with them. Like, so much so that he felt comfortable enough anyway, when the guy falls into the cage, just run in there with no protection at all from these raptors that are going to rip him limb from limb in seconds, and just like hold him there and say, no, hold on, whatever, get this guy out of here, I'm just keeping him here. And they're actually listening to him. Not only that, but when Blue has this moment, like what you guys were talking about at the end of the movie, where there is that, not intellectual, that's not the word I'm looking for, but there is that communication between these two, where he is conveying to Blue with just a head shake, and you can see kind of the facial expression of Blue assimilating this information and kind of and having that reaction internally. I thought that was a really cool way of kind of saying, like, yeah, these things are not just intelligent, they are all there just as, like, similar to the way that humans are, which would in turn make them probably that much more dangerous. It's like, because it's one thing to just like to only have three things on your mind, eat, sleep, and fuck. But it's like there's these, but to be able to process different emotions and stuff like that is kind of a whole other level of intelligence. That's so much more than just some animal rolling around the jungle.
You can release,
and even Alan Grant said it in the third movie where he's like, it's entirely possible that were it not for the events that wiped out the dinosaurs in the first place, that raptors rather than humans would have been the dominant species on this planet. I'm like, yeah, you know what? You're probably right, man. He said they were smarter than dolphins or whales. They were smarter than primates. I'm like, Jesus. Again, that's what makes it so terrifying. And like I said, with this, I almost said the Indoraptor, equally as terrifying, but also the Indominus. I'm like, yeah, they don't even tell him. Or maybe they didn't even tell Claire. They're like, oh, it's classified.
They didn't.
They're like, well, what is it? What is it? It's like, it's not just a T-Rex. What is this thing? And like, oh, it's also part raptor. I'm like, motherfucker, of course.
So, do you want to know what all? Do you want to know what all that motherfucker was combined of?
Well, other than like the real world stuff.
Yeah, we had. Raptor? Well, no, we had T-Rex, Velociraptor, Therizinosaurus, Majungasaurus, Giganotosaurus, and that's just some of the dinosaurs. There was like, they literally took, everything about this animal. They just kind of pieced. It was like, that's why everyone called it the Frankenstein of dinosaurs, because it had.
You're right. I mean,
so many fucking dinosaurs that were in it. But when they finally released all the amount, like it was actually on the website that they said, the Majunga, the Indominus Rex was comprised of all these animals, and it was just like, that's just the extinct ones. We haven't even gotten into the that's when they're like, oh, cuttlefish, tree frog, Bowser from Mario, it can breathe fire.
Fred Astaire because it can dance too.
Yeah, I was like, what do you think?
Oh, the Dominus wearing a top hat and a cane, I swear.
Did you guys notice though that it's not a shot-for-shot remake of Jurassic Park, but did you notice they essentially just made the same mistakes that Hammond made?
Mm-hmm.
It's like
that's the point, is the irony that even if it does succeed, we actually made what was supposed to happen. It still fucking went wrong. I'm like, yes, that's the point.
Yeah,
it's a cautionary tale. Like,
also, I have one little gripe with this movie. The process of cloning the dinosaur is you find the mosquitoes that had bitten dinosaurs that were stuck in amber, fossilized. You extract the DNA from them, whatever. And I buy the science of it. I mean, for being the scientific expert that I am, I buy the science of it. Just the way it's explained in the movie, I buy it. But how on earth did they find the DNA of a fucking uber dinosaur shark? It's like, did the mosquito bite the shark when it was surfacing for food?
Well, I mean, we have bones of. You could probably just at that point you just get the DNA. What DNA you get from the.
Yeah, I mean, god damn it, we keep jumping to Fallen Kingdom. Like, remember, they took the bone from the Indominus to still have her DNA to make the Indoraptor, right?
To make a new Indoraptor. The one they had, they used what little information and stuff that they had from dinosaurs already, DNA-wise, and that the whole point of wanting to go back and get more DNA was to remake one that wasn't so twitchy and faulty. With, if you paid attention to how Indoraptor moved and everything, it was very like, it had lots of like, it wasn't the way Colin Trevorrow had worded it with the Indoraptor was that she's not well put together. She is not wired. Prototype. She was not wired correctly. There was some circuits that were going off when they shouldn't have. And if you just watched how it moved and how there was always just something about it that wasn't quite right. So, and
it was almost kind of like a newborn deer trying to walk for the first time. Like, I don't know how much they let this thing out. Was it always in the cage, and you let it out, and it's just like, oh my god, what can I do? Where can I go?
Yeah, and the whole reason they were going for blue in the first place was for that mother connection. But
it needs a mother. I love that line.
Yeah. Oh, I can't wait to get to that one. But yeah, I just.
Well, you know what? Blue
that was another thing.
Leave her alone.
That was another thing a lot of people had gripes with, was like, why is the mosasaur the size of a fucking like megalodon? What's going on there? And then of course led back to the whole, nothing in Jurassic Park is or Jurassic World is natural. But I mean, like, we can't. I mean, yeah, we got the DNA from the mosquito for the T-Rex. I highly doubt that there's just a mosquito out there for every single species they have. At that point, it just becomes like we learned how to do it with what we had from the blood of the T-Rex. Now if we can get, if we can get fossilized remains that are decent enough for like a Triceratops, and we can get what we can out of the bones. There have been found, we've found multiple, whether it be mammoth, they did find a small tail of a dinosaur that was enclosed in amber. They think it was like a very small species of tyrannosaur, but it was a perfectly preserved tip of a tail in amber that they're like, if we, and people are like, you could do it if you wanted to. You could bring it back, but it's like people are going about
movies why that's a bad idea.
There's people going about it in a different way where they're trying to bring back a dinosaur, but they're trying to do it with what we already have. So if you look at you take a chicken's DNA and you look at it and you be like, okay, so right here is where the scales of the feet, the DNA shows, the chromosomes, all that junk that I don't all necessarily understand because I ain't no sciencey major. But there are things that tell the body, okay, stop here. This is where those scales stop. If we were to take that block out of there, you would then continue to have the scales grow up the chicken's legs and then work its way up. There are there's things that stop the tail from growing. If we were to take that out, and they have done this, unfortunately, nothing ever survives. The eggs don't usually go. You take out some DNA of a crocodile and you put it in literally doing exactly what they do in Jurassic Park, except you're not starting with dinosaur or anything. You're starting with what we already have, which would be a chicken embryo, and then you start adding DNA from other animals into that, but something that are closely resembling that to where it's not like, hey, I'm going to take this chicken and I'm going to take German Shepherd DNA, and now we have chicken with German Shepherd fur. So it has to be somewhat closely related in where those genes and everything connect properly. And they're in the process of trying to recreate dinosaurs that way by mixing other species together instead of just, going out. Yeah, we've got DNA of dinosaurs. There's been skeletons found. There was a T-Rex fossil found that actually still had blood cells in the bones.
Oh,
but it's nobody's stupid enough to do anything about it.
I hope so.
Could we do it? Yeah, probably. Would it end up like Jurassic Park or Jurassic World? Probably not, because you're not going to have a lot of people out there stupid enough to be like, I'm going to shut down the power to this. Obviously, if we can keep elephants and rhinos and hippos and everything, if we can keep those at bay, we could probably keep a small dinosaur at bay if we were to bring that back, or a mammoth or something along those lines.
Why couldn't we bring back the herbivores? They're way less likely to eat us than a T-Rex or a raptor.
Right.
Because those, as
condors. Condors are on the
verge of extinction. No.
If you can make if you can make a whole flock of condors on this island, you wouldn't have anything
to say. No, there's this whole thing where, like, Claire says, people look at Stegosaurus like they look at the elephant at the zoo, and people want more. And Owen even says they're dinosaurs. Wow, enough. Like,
right.
You don't have to give it fucking wings and make it breathe fire to be like, now that's what I've wanted to see. I mean, yeah, given Jurassic World, I think had been open for 2 or 3 years at this point. I don't remember. I think it opened up, honestly, in 2005. If you read into, like, the files and everything, because they always put up promotional websites to, like, help get people into the lore and everything. I honestly think Jurassic World opened in like 2005 or started building in 2005 and then opened up. But it had been open quite a few years before Jurassic World, the movie, came out.
Now would be a good time to go into a little bit of the trivia, because that's one of the things that I had here that I thought was kind of interesting. Let me...
I got the 20% warning here a little bit ago. So
we
don't want another.
Do a freeze frame.
What is the one that talked about the website? I just scrolled right over it, and now I can't find it. I'll have to find it again here in a second. But the one piece of trivia that I found interesting as I was reading through all this stuff is, for the Season 2 Parks and Recreation's DVD, Chris Pratt made a behind-the-scenes video. And in the video, he reads a fake text from Steven Spielberg about being cast in Jurassic Park 4. Pratt was eventually cast as the lead in the 4th Jurassic Park movie, which I think is kind of funny.
That's awesome.
I remember that.
I watched a few episodes that I didn't watch a lot of it.
That makes that the Parks and Recs even funnier.
See, it helps that Haley and I binge watched that show when we first got together, completed it. We own the series because we loved it that much. The whole reason I'm growing a mustache is to go as Ron Swanson for Halloween.
Hell yes.
But yeah, when I think you're the one that sent that to me, Jeremy, and I sent that to Haley, and she was like, "Why do I love this? Why am I here for it?" I'm like, "Oh, great." Andy Dwyer is Owen Grady. Like,
I was gonna say, you realize me and her could probably pull off being Chris Pratt in Opera Plaza. So
yeah, absolutely.
You want to do a whole Parks and Rec?
Well, here's this bit of trivia, the one I was talking to you guys about. According to the website, designed to look like it's the real website for the park, Jurassic World has been open since 2005. Likewise, the release of the movie had been anticipated for nearly 10 years. I've never actually seen the website, so I don't know how absolutely true this is, but...
I checked it out for a while, and it was really cool.
It seemed like it had fallen into like a whole, actual what a theme park would be like, and everyone's just kind of like you said.
It went into full depth. Like it told you today, unfortunately, due to some I checked it out on my phone while we were on our way to Florida with Corey. Like I checked it out on my phone, and it would tell you days temperatures are like in the high 90s. So just so you know that Winston's Bar and Grill is momentarily out of commission due to a health code violation, stuff like that. And it would give you just updates like any theme park would. And I remember when it was like now introducing our beautiful hatchlings of Gallimimus that we have now introduced to our petting zoo. And it was a real website for a real theme park. And then when the movie finally came out, that whole website shut down. And there was a big warning when you came up. It said, due to unfortunate circumstances, the park has been permanently closed. And if you took your mouse and highlighted over things, it would then let you click on little hidden things in the text that you wouldn't see unless you highlighted it. And it would take you to random files. It would look like as if somebody had, I swear to God, it was a Trump election bullshit thing. There was redacted all over the place. And then you could highlight over the redacted pages and it would give you little Easter eggs of upon Simon Masrani's death, the looking of it was all over the place. It was really cool though.
Where was it? All over the place.
All over the place. Also, at around the 1 hour 40-minute mark, the hologram of the Dilophosaurus in the Educational Center is from the original Jurassic Park. The Dilophosaurus footage that they turn on to try to distract the raptor that's chasing them for a minute is actually the footage that was used from when Nedry was attacked in the original film.
I thought it was just another Dilo they put in there just to...
I didn't think it... I gotta watch that now. But yeah, that was the only time we'd seen a Dilo since the first movie, too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There was an original scene that the Dilos got cut from in Jurassic World. They were chasing they were chasing Zach and Gray. There was going to be a small pack of Dilophosaurus on the island.
I thought you were going to say, wasn't there supposed to be something bigger with Nedry or something? Like it was supposed to be a little more violent or something?
No, in the game, because it happens in the book, they describe it in detail that the Dilophosaurus, hey, stop it, pretty much gutted Dennis from the inside and just...
Yeah, the book, as I recall, is pretty graphic.
It's fucked up. But the game that Telltale did for Jurassic Park actually shows, it's not in the game. You see the side of him ever so slightly, and they even used Wayne Knight's character, or like facial and everything. Do you want to go extinct tonight? Because I'll do it. I don't even know if you guys can hear her barking, but my God.
No.
There is a like promotional art that was used as like you unlock it by playing the game. Jeremy, I mean Frank, every time you get a chance, just go on there and look up Dennis Nedry death picture, and it shows you what Telltale did, but it's graphic. It's like him in the thing. His intestines are all over the place. There's a Dilophosaurus sitting inside the car with him, like, hello, like, hello there. And it's got like it ate him from his insides are gone. This part of his face is gone. He looks like a fucking walker. It's creepy.
Yeah,
and it was.
The book is actually, as I recall, again, it's been years since I've read it, was actually pretty descriptive on a couple of deaths.
Yeah. Yeah.
Well, I mean, with this new trailer, I think, I mean, it looks like there's a dialogue that like screams right into Claire's face. So I'm like, we're gonna see him again.
There's a lot of anger following that Dilophosaurus right now because
whatever.
In the game, well, in the gaming scene, for people who really wanted the Dominion content to come out for Jurassic World Evolution 2, they actually cut a very decent amount of dinosaurs from the game that are in the movie hardcore. Like you see the Atrociraptors are being shoved in your face at every bit, every t-shirt you see, every party favor you buy has their face plastered on it. They were cut from it, and all these different animals were cut from the game, but the Dilophosaurus made it in, and a lot of people are like, so what? None of these fuckers are in there, but you bring in the fucking Dilophosaurus that only has like a minor color change to its face. So people were very happy to see it return to the film for the first time since Jurassic Park, but also kind of like, all right, dude, you're not that fucking cool. Like, why did you make it into the game and like 5 other dinosaurs didn't? But whatever, I'm not butthurt about it. You're butthurt about it. Like, but I'm excited to see it come back.
Me too. I always thought that was a pretty cool looking dinosaur. And it ate Nedry, who was kind of the whole fucking problem of the first movie anyway.
Newman!
Newman, damn it! But Claire is actually dressed in all white in this movie. I don't know if you guys noticed that. That is an attempt to pay homage to John Hammond, who was played by Sir Richard Attenborough in the original Jurassic Park. Both were directors of their respective parks. I didn't realize that until actually I read this. They are both dressed in all white.
I mean, I knew that, but I didn't know that was the parallel. Yeah, that's cool.
Yeah.
You guys were talking about the Jeeps a little bit ago. At that part of the movie where the kids find the Jeeps in the old visitor center, the Jeep number 29 that the kids repair and drive away from the original visitor center is the same one ridden by Hammond and Gennaro in Jurassic Park in 1993. The Jeep number 18 that Owen and Claire hide behind is the one that was ridden in by Grant, Sattler, and Malcolm when they first arrive on the island in Jurassic Park.
That's what I was wondering. Like, is it the ones when they first pull up? Yeah, like that's... I was hoping so. That's awesome.
That's a pretty cool parallel. I actually, one of my favorite things about the movie is they actually find the original visitor center, and I was like, wow, that's a pretty cool throwback. Because I remember thinking to myself, I know it's been a while, but would the jungle really have overtaken the entire building like that? But then again,
I've thought about that too. But I mean, you're talking about from '93 to, well, I guess 2015, right?
Yeah. So you're looking at 20-something years.
Well, you're on a tropical island. It's humid as shit. It rains all the time. That shit's gonna grow back like that. I don't know.
Probably. Especially
you would be
life finds a way, right?
You would be sad to know that in Jurassic World Camp Cretaceous, that animated one on Netflix, that is now officially canon. Like, they actually came out and said that whatever happens in this movie, they've even got a dinosaur that's in that show is appearing in the movie because promotional material has shown it. I don't know if you guys have ever seen the dinosaur Bumpy. It's an ankylosaurus. It's like a brighter blue color, and she's got kind of a bone crest on this side, but on this side it's like a nub, and they call her Bumpy because she has a little bump on her head, and she has been seen in promotional art for the movie, so it's cool to know that they are kind of intertwining those. But the visitor center does get destroyed because they introduced a new hybrid called the Scorpius Rex, which is kind of like, it's what, looking at this in Pokemon style, this is what evolves from the Indoraptor. So you would have the Scorpius Rex evolving into the Indoraptor. If you were to look at Pokemon standards, but we're not there yet. But they introduced this hybrid that, I mean, I've got it on my shelf as one of my figures for collecting It's fucking terrifying. And the best way I can tell you is like you take a fucking Wendigo and you take a Velociraptor and you put them together. It moves more like, it moves a lot like a human. It doesn't even walk on like, with its hands out like this. It walks like it uses its hands. It has quills that shoot out of its back. It gets quite a few, like given this show is more for kids because it's done by DreamWorks, but it does have a lot of adult oriented themes in that show where this fucking dinosaur just like, oh, it's like you see like a couple Parasaurolophus just eating and, being normal. Fuck that, as these giant quills pierce its neck and it just hits the floor and it's like, that's mine. But it introduces the first dinosaur to breed asexually. Before Beta was even announced, they did this where all of a sudden there was just two Scorpius Rex and people were like, what the fuck, where'd those two come from? Well, it gave birth, it laid an egg and out comes another one, and they don't look at each other as like, oh, this is my mom. They look at each other as like rivals, and they both try to kill each other. And the best way they do it is they piss off Blue, who then goes on a rampage inside of the visitor center and causes the remaining skeleton pieces that were still up to come crashing down on top of and the whole building comes crashing in, and just, it's like, well, that's gone now. So, but it doesn't matter because
again, I think it got barbecued anyway.
Yeah, the inside.
Fair, so I think it's gone
those
now.
things were in there, and supposedly the thing's code name was E750. So there was rumor there. The number or the name E750 was shown on the Dino Tracker site, which is the newest current website for the Dominion movie, just like Jurassic World had its own website. But they have had the code name E750 show up quite a few times that, failed blank blank 750, but they redact the first letter. Failed
numbers,
experiment.
Mason, what do they mean? Turn into Black Ops for a second.
Yeah. It was cool just to see that little nod, but that's gone now. And one other thing I wanted to go back a little bit that Frank was talking about where she's wearing all white. There was an original scene that they had talked about doing where, you see her in the elevator and she's coming down and she's running over the names of the people she's got to talk to. And then she says, "Welcome to Jurassic World." Originally, the first scene to show her was her in the visitor center saying, "Welcome to Jurassic World." And it pans kind of like, where you have her there and then she fades, kind of blurs out and then shows something behind her. She was going to be standing kind of catty corner to the statue of John Hammond, the big John Hammond statue, which that actually got moved to Universal Studios Japan. That the statue of him is in their Jurassic Park ride, which
awesome.
I'm so jealous, but it is the actual statue. And it was going to kind of show her and then kind of fade to the back, or vice versa. It was going to show his statue and then fade to her. So to the foreground just to show that's the original. Here's the new one. And I really wish they would have kept that. I think it would have been a good, like, oh, shit. Okay, cool. But they did not keep it. They ended up going with...
and then she totally just grills that guy for having an OG Jurassic Park shirt. So, I mean...
Don't you think that's a little poor taste? Yeah, but that old
taste.
First park was legit. Yeah, people died.
Yeah, people died, dude.
Well, there is.
I like that guy.
There is some stuff about him and I have coming up here in a minute, but I don't know if you guys noticed when the boys first arrive at the park, a voice over the loudspeaker advertises Chilean sea bass on the menu of one of the restaurants, and of course, Hammond states that Chef Alejandro has prepared Chilean sea bass for everyone right before they watch a cow get completely mutilated by the raptors in the raptor pen.
Well, who's hungry?
What was the other one? Where was it at? I had it.
I just love that they had some restaurants named after, like they had the restaurant Winston's Bar and Grill for Stan Winston. I thought that was really cool.
That was awesome.
Also, before Sir Richard Attenborough passed away, director Colin Trevorrow and executive producer Steven Spielberg had recorded Richard saying the same lines that he said in Jurassic Park when John Hammond first met Alan Grant and Dr. Ellie Sadler and made an offer to come see the island. The only line that was different was that Sir Richard didn't say "Welcome to Jurassic Park." Instead, he said "Welcome to Jurassic World" for the trailer and preview releases of the film. So that was all newly recorded stuff right before Richard Attenborough died that you hear his voice in this movie.
That's nice.
Let's see. Ifrod Khan joked in an interview saying that he didn't have enough money to buy a ticket for Steven Spielberg's Jurassic Park back in 1993. Well, he certainly put together a decent enough career to end up in one of the movies. Let's see.
We actually just lost him, I think, not too long ago, which is really, really upsetting.
I think it's true, yeah.
Yeah, he died, I think, due to cancer. It's always cancer.
Oh, during the early stages of development, Harrison Ford was set to star in this movie, but dropped out due to the quality of Indiana Jones and the Kingdom of the Crystal Skull, amongst other reasons. I'm sure they wouldn't need a whole lot of other reasons.
Oof.
Love to know what he would have done.
That was the thing. This was 2015, right? This was also the same year that Episode 7 of Star Wars came out. So I was like he said, I was kind of skeptical. I'm like, you're going to bring back Jurassic Park and Star Wars?
It worked out.
Oh boy!
It worked out.
I know it did. It just it did.
Let me get to some of the spoilery stuff. Let's see.
You've seen this movie by now.
Something you guys talked about already earlier. The sound played when Paddock 9 opens and Claire leads the Tyrannosaurus Rex to the flare to face the Indominus Rex is the same sound played when Ellie Sattler restores the power to the fences in Jurassic Park, and she also gets the T-Rex to chase her holding a red flare.
Yeah.
So yeah, kind of an audio callback right then. B.D. Wong is the only cast member to return from one of the previous movies. He appeared in Jurassic Park in 1993. Obviously after that we had
Ian Malcolm.
But see, his character of Dr. Henry Wu died in the novel when the raptors ripped him open. But his character in Jurassic Park is implied to have left the island by boat before the dinosaur outbreak starts. I actually totally forgot that he actually dies in the book until just now.
Huh. That's interesting then. Yeah.
This movie has a body count of 25. I feel like it should be much higher than that.
We're not counting.
You're trying to count all the people in the crowd. Like I feel like
during the pterodactyl attack. That was so fucking cool.
Yeah. How do you know how many people died during that whole mess?
Zara counts as 23 of them just for the
I know, right?
I'm trying to find where is the cat? Because
you said there's 20,000 people on this island. You're telling me 25 of them are the only ones that got killed. Well, also, I mean, you got the asset containment guys too. I'm like, they got ripped to shreds. So I don't know.
That was a bunch of bull honky.
You know what? If he's looking for something, I want to say something. Just this is the Walking Dead in me. I'm like, if I didn't see a damn body, that this movies like to do that, and you're implied like, oh yeah, that person's dead. I'm like, we only saw Vincent D'Onofrio get his hand chomped. I'm like, you don't know that he died. If Vincent D'Onofrio comes back with like a robotic arm, I'm just saying. He comes back with a robotic arm in the next movie, I'm gonna be like,
no, okay. He's confirmed as dead based on the Dino Tracker site.
You don't know.
Oh no, the Dino Tracker site.
You believe everything InGen tells you?
It wasn't InGen. InGen's kind of gone now. They've actually kind of just like
now it's
Biosyn has
Biosyn, yeah.
Yeah, Biosyn is like completely taken over. So,
well,
I got the 10% warning. So,
yeah,
we're on a countdown.
It seems like a pretty good place to start wrapping things up, anyway. But anyway, any final thoughts on Jurassic World as we get ready to wrap this thing up? I'll start with you, Jeremy.
You know what? Reeling off of I almost out of instincts out of the amber turd that was Indiana Jones and the Crystal Skull. Holy crap, that's gonna stick. Hopefully not literally. I mean, I was, it's one of those where I'm like with Batfleck. I'm like, you know what? I ate my own damn words. I was like, you know what? This was good. I liked it, and I liked where it was going, and I like where it's still going, and I'm now wondering where are we going? Good lord, we're written into a corner now of okay. Now there's dinosaurs out in the world, so. Yeah, I'm just curious to see where this is where it all started, so I'm curious to see where it takes us.
Well, we're going to find out where it takes us here, and next week we're going to be talking about Jurassic World Fallen Kingdom, so we'll start talking about the next step next week. Brooding Gamer, final thoughts on the film from you?
It's amazing. It made me very happy to go see it, and when I left the theater, it left me wanting more. So more teeth. You maybe not. Based on who I was talking to when that movie came out. No. It's
I agree.
I fell in love with that movie all over again. I forgot. It always brings me back to with Alan Grant in Jurassic Park 3 where he goes, "By God, I've forgotten." I forgot how much I truly loved the series and how much it made me want to get into filming. It made me want to get into editing. That whole franchise had really kicked in my love and my drive to create my own film content and my own movies and stuff like that. So being able to live it all again for the first time, I guess you could say, because reboot, if you want to call it that, rebooting the series by creating Jurassic World to give us a whole new style of Jurassic Park, it just kind of brought everything back, emotional and excitement wise. So yeah, it brought everything back, and it made me. I had honestly forgotten how much I loved the series before this came out, but it brought it all back.
Yeah, I watched it again today for the first time in a long time, and I still really, really like it. I mean, again, it is kind of shot for shot compared to the first Jurassic Park movie in spots, but I think it works. I think it works really well. Not just to kind of remind you where it's from, but also because it does kind of pay homage to the original, which I think is still one of the best films that's been made in the last 50 years. I mean, because who's ever done anything this imaginative? You know, since the days of Harryhausen and the claymation fights with, you know, the gods and things like that, and Clash of the Titans. I mean, who's ever taken this kind of a bold step with cool story, cool idea, cool effects, things like that. Who's ever done it to this level? I don't think anybody has. And it's dinosaurs. Dinosaurs are inherently cool. I mean, because obviously none exist, so we're just left to wonder. You know, we're left to our devices, theater of the mind, to try to figure out what we think these things would have actually been like. But, you know, we don't have to too much because cool movies like this exist. But I really like it. I think it's a fantastic movie, and I'm really looking forward to seeing what the last movie is going to bring us. It comes out here in the next week or so. I think it's going to be a pretty crazy ending. Thanks to all of you who voted in the poll. Let's see, 14 of you voted, 50% of you loved it, 35% thought it was pretty good, and 14% of you were obviously trolls and thought it was a dumpster fire. So thanks, trolls, for coming in and hanging out tonight. That's a good place to wrap everything up. Don't forget that next week we will be back here to talk about Jurassic World Fallen Kingdom, and then we'll also be making our predictions as to what we're going to see out of Jurassic World Dominion. Lady Cora will be here, Jeremy will be here, Brooding Gamer will be here, I will be here. We will all be giving you our crazy predictions for the film, and that's pretty much what we're getting tonight. Jeremy, where can the folks at home find you?
I'm here. I'm here on Thursdays. I'm here on Mondays. Whenever Frank tells me to be here, I suppose. You know. Tuesdays, I'm over on Twitch. I mean, it's real easy to find. My name should be down in the description, but if you can't read, it's Grim Tuesday 23. I don't know if you can't read, you can't type, whatever.
And on Fridays, he's in the Tortuga.
I was trying to work on a joke or somehow. Yeah, that's yeah. So Twitch on Tuesdays, maybe some other days if I feel frisky. The best place to find really the best updates, the most direct line to me would be on Twitter. Also the same name, Grim Tuesday 23. I'm actually this isn't just for. I mean, it is for it, but this vest, I've been putting together this whole persona of Grim, so. This is part of it, so it's coming. Hopefully, it actually comes together. I'm also sometimes on Brooding Gamers shenanigans, like you said, filming stuff. We're there, and I mean, I may or may not debut that character in full.
Yeah,
talking about.
Well,
stuff,
I need to remind you that I'll be doing one of those. I don't know if I told you I did the Vintage Victories toy hunts shit. Going to like
God. Okay, I'm sorry. Go ahead.
You all right there? Too much rum. I'll be going back to like, you know, the flea markets like Trader's World and stuff to see if I can find old Jurassic Park toys, merchandise, stuff like that. So if you'd like to tag along with me to Trader's World and Treasure Island sometime here soon, sure you can buy your own.
Treasure Island. I gotta dress like this again? Damn it.
Yeah. Hey.
You wouldn't be the weirdest dressed person there, at least.
I would not. I know.
But
I didn't even stop myself. I'm like, I know I wouldn't be.
If you've watched the video I put up about the first Trader's World run, there was a guy walking around in shorts so short that I swear if he lifted his leg, his nuts would have fallen out. But as I'm walking, I brought it up. I was like, we haven't found anything. We've had some good food, and I saw something I really didn't need to see. And an old lady at one of the vendors, because you know how Trader's World, they usually sit like right outside. And the lady goes, if it's the guy with short shorts, I saw him too. And I'm like, and it just, we all laughed.
We all saw him.
It's like the whole fucking building saw him.
Saw too much of him, actually. Brooding Gamer, where can the folks at home find you on the internet?
You can, of course, find me at my YouTube channel, The Brooding Gamer. Actually, there is no the. Just Brooding Gamer, where we are doing just about everything dinosaur content that I can figure out, whether it be video games, toy hunts, or right now that's just about it. We're trying to figure out some more stuff, but special review videos. We've got our first epic toy review that I have up there for the Therizinosaurus, and I of course have some awesome footage coming up here very soon of Jeremy, Rachel, and I out filming some special footage actually for the Dominion video that I will get that comprised of for you to have to play before the Dominion review.
Oh boy.
Nice. Go check out Brooding Gamer. The link to his channel is in the description below, down with the other gamers that I like to plug, like Casey and the Rose. As for me, you can find me here every Thursday going over all the crazy stuff that's happening in the world of entertainment, movies, and television. You can also find me on Sundays over on the Derailed podcast. Link to that is in the description below. That's where we go over all the other crazy things that are happening in the world. Also, don't forget, Monday the 10th is right now what we have scheduled for the big spoiler discussion of Jurassic World Dominion. So don't forget to mark that down on your calendars. Don't forget to hit the like button on your way out. A little bell for the notifications. That's how you know when we go live. Thanks again to a couple of people who subscribed over the last couple of days. TJ Derland and Eric Mervick. Thanks for subscribing to the channel. We hope you guys like what you see and you come back for more. And just share us around a bit. Patreon, link is in the description below. Go help us out by supporting us on Patreon. We give away $25 of movie tickets once a month. That's coming up here in a couple of weeks. I won't bother putting the graphic up because we're just about done. And I'm pretty sure Brooding Gamer is hitting the 5% mark right about now. So thanks a lot. Again, some really, really great viewership tonight. We've been growing a lot. Last month actually ended up being our best month of viewership and watch hours ever. And all that's because of my great co-hosts, everything we've been doing here, the help of the Brooding Gamer, of course, him coming on and hanging out with us lately. And you guys just coming to support the channel. That's a very, very big thank you to all of you guys. And we will see you guys all on next Thursday where we go over all the other stuff. Thanks a lot for coming to hang out with us.